Fire for your mind. The Kosher Clinician.
Yeah, she lie on them brothers. 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 So what going on in your man, you don't get it. And using
Mr. Passport, bro.
Exactly. Coming soon to the interview, man. We're going to talk to this man. He said he's no longer a passport bro. That's what he just told me.
The definition that people are saying about passport bros, I'm not with all that. I'm for men finding relationships outside of the country and to find something better. That's
Austin Holloman would make a video called Passport Bros in Brazil with 6-year-olds.
damn.
Instead of saying travel YouTuber or passport bro or black American guy, he said passport bros. So basically, passport bros, more than one guy, was messing with 6-year-olds when it was only one guy that got arrested. And he gives some explanation.
And then here's even worse, sexual exploitation. According to the investigation, the man is part of the movement called the Passport Bros, formed by criminals who use economic power to exploit social vulnerabilities of Latin America and Southeast Asia. In his social media post, he declared himself a sex tourist.
Just like blown away right now that these chicks are so ugly to me, guys. I'm like, I was in the club like, why are they not attractive enough? Like it. Most of these chicks, guys, you're not gonna want to pay the fuck. I ain't gonna lie to you. Most of these chicks, you feel like you should be on for free. I ain't gonna lie. You want to use your wrist. Like blown away that so much of a city could have so many average to ugly looking women, yo. It's just like,
are the Passport Bros dangerous? Are they deviants and abusers? Or are the Passport Bros a loose organization of men from different backgrounds? Why does the world hate black male agency and sovereignty and push false agenda?
I have never, not one time, seen a nigga that go overseas and was like, yeah, that nigga's the prototype. He cool. I have never in my life, not once, not one, you cannot name me one nigga that is just great. And I was like, I could take something from him. I have never in my life, not once, ever seen a nigga that had to go overseas to buy box and said he is him. Not once. Who the fuck is y'all following?
Make sure y'all go and check out Andre and Andre.
Who are y'all taking advice from? Who are y'all following and who are y'all taking advice from? That's all I'm asking.
Love Crossing Borders because he has a great channel that has great content and breaks down the mindset behind the people that's supposed to be able to move accordingly when it comes to, operating with your passport.
That's all I'm asking. Because anytime that I take advice from somebody,
I just don't understand how the most basic level men can leave America, travel to these other countries, and just pull absolute tens, like the hottest girls that you will ever see. And these men, like men that we wouldn't even look twice at, are just pulling them and convincing them to date them. Like, I truly don't understand it.
Thought this soil would hold you forever.
Some roots are meant to travel, sir. Feels like they're finally growing.
The government talked about something called compromise. And in relationships where there's the lack of compromise in the relationship, it can lead to a condition called relationship entropy. And relationship entropy comes from the word entropy comes from the word science. The scientific community, meaning things are about to implode. And this relationship is about to implode because this woman does not have emotional regulation. She doesn't appear to care about her husband. And then many times, as she's been doing here recently, based on what I've seen in the video, which I'm about to show you guys in a minute, they'll be the victim when the man is more or less crying. Now, let me show you guys what I'm talking about in a minute. Just hold tight, and I'm going to show you how it appears this woman now is being the victim because she's being held accountable. Greetings. This is another topic of the Kosher Clinician that might be sensitive to some viewers. If you are sensitive to the topic at hand or the title provided in the show, please proceed with caution. You have been warned. Viewer discretion is advised. Hit that like button and share this stream if you're not a beta male. Fire! Kosher Clinician.
Aside to become the kosher clinician, the story and the war cry behind the kosher clinician was similar to some of the struggles and the things that I've been through as a man. And some of you men are still going through that right now. There's a philosophical term called an existentialist crisis. Basically what that means is that you begin to ask yourself the question of why am I existing? What is the purpose of my existence? And I think that's the story of a lot of men that have not been more or less raised or under the tutelage of masculine men. One of the greatest indictments, guys, about the manosphere is that people assert and assume that the manosphere pushes misogyny and hate. But the manosphere is not responsible and was created a silo as the front to women or black women. But the manosphere was responsible to the pain and suffering that many black men were going through and continue to go through as we speak now. Once again, Jericho, we are going through an existential crisis. Our country is in trouble. Some of you are in trouble, mentally, physically, and emotionally. And you're not ready to move to higher ground until you get the requisite help that's going to help you become the better version of yourself.
Real men put the strap down and we can toss it. This is our culture. Now we talking kosher. Clinician.
All right. There it is. All right. Now hit it for me.
And it ain't culture. 7 in hell is what they taught you. We'll put them, and you can back up in young dose. Kosher. Clinician.
All right, stop that. All I want you to say is if it ain't 7, it ain't kosher. Say that first, okay? All right, you ready?
Start over?
Yeah, start it.
No. Okay, if it ain't 7, it ain't kosher, and
if it ain't 7, it ain't culture.
Okay.
Heaven and hell is what they taught you.
Okay, perfect. Do that again, but give me a little attitude. If it ain't 7, it ain't culture.
All right.
Okay, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
And action.
Young heads picking back up in young dolphin. This is our culture. Now we talking kosher. Clinician. That was cool.
If it ain't 7, it ain't culture. Heaven and hell, that's what they taught you. Real men put the strap down and we can toss them. Young heads picking back up in young dolphins. This is our culture. Now we talking kosher. Clinician, masculinity issues. Asking fathers who miss you. Mama drama don't kiss you. All a part of the ritual. This is how they get you. Separate the men, women, clipping babies pretend to. Damn. Lovers, haters, acting like vultures. If it ain't 7, it ain't kosher. If it ain't kosher, ain't right, gotta divorce us. If it ain't 7, it ain't kosher. If it ain't kosher, ain't right, gotta divorce us. If it ain't 7, it ain't kosher. If it ain't kosher, ain't right, gotta divorce us. This is kosher condition. 7 wonders, the whole world gotta listen. This is kosher condition. 7 wonders, the whole world gotta listen. This is kosher condition. 7 wonders, the whole world gotta listen. This is kosher condition. 7 wonders, the whole world gotta listen. Listen. Listen.
All right, guys, we're going to get into it in a minute. We're going to have a great show on today. I got Dre from Love Crossing Borders, and I got Obsidian Mumia Ali. And we're going to have a very powerful show, guys, on today. Passport Pirates exposed. Should Passport Bros change their name? And I would say the answer is no. But we're going to have a very powerful conversation. We're going to listen to these two esteemed gentlemen. And then, guys, we're going to get into it from a clinical perspective, but also from a sociological perspective. Let's do it, guys. Bringing it to you live once again from the greatest state in the Union, the Tar Heel State, where the topography is serene, pristine, and verdant green, where every day is Father's Day, and where manhood is part of hills and valleys, victories and failures, and whereas men, we don't agree on all things or ideologies, but tonight we come together as allies of a common cause, only to dissipate once the crisis is over. Now listen, I'm about to drop some fire for your mind. But before I drop that fire, let's explore why we are doing the Manhood Chronicles. There are people and there are agents in the world, guys, trying to silence a movement that many don't like, a movement that many don't understand, and a movement that many have a lot of ignorance towards. And the ignorance towards this movement, guys, is tied into power. It's tied into power. See, black men historically have never had power. And many assume that the only way you should be able to get your power is through them. And it's a problem because no man should have to ask another man or woman for power. Hold tight. Let me remove this thing in the back. No man should have to ask any man or woman for power, guys. You should be able to live your life out on your own terms without fear of distress, without fear of retribution, and also without fear of shame. But this whole passport bro phenomenon has led to a lot of ignorance, it's led to a lot of turncoats, and it's led to a lot of cowards. I've always said, guys, in the past that men do what they want to do. Men don't have to ask anybody for permission to do anything. You should never run when you know you're in the right. You stand firm in your convictions, and you challenge the naysayers, and you ask them to provide evidence by which they are saying is true. I've always said, guys, in the past that power never conceded to nothing without a struggle. It never have, and it never will. Power never conceded to anything without a struggle, guys. It never have, and it never will. Power will never concede. And so I'm going to challenge you men on today is to rise your vibrations. And I want you guys to start having something called the spirit of Jehu. Jehu was an emissary to Jezebel. He never bowed. He actually, when Jezebel was trying to destroy the prophets, Jehu raised his voice and he fought against the wicked woman called Jezebel. What you're seeing now manifesting in modern times, right before our eyes, it's a form of psychological and sociological conditioning. It's no different than what happened when black men were in slavery. Anytime black men were a threat to the power structure, then they would use all kinds of a concept called labeling. We're going to talk about labeling in a minute. And they would use labeling as a way to control or silence the power and the things and the efficacy by which black men were trying to do. And so the thing that's so problematic about this, because there are black men, in my opinion, that have the mindset of being a field hand. Or a buffer between massa and also between the field slave. They were the slave catchers. No, slave catchers were slaves, but they thought they were more important than the field slave because they had privilege in the house of massa. And so you got these buffer slaves or these slave catchers. I call them plantation pirates. That every time and any time black men or any man, white or black, try to gain any steam in their own advocacy and in their own agency, they do everything in their power to set them back. So the question I would say on today is this: give black men a better product. Because, see, black men didn't create the passport bros. Black men didn't create the passport bros. Social conditioning, hubris, and narcissistic traits created the passport bros. And the problem is this. A lot of men are afraid to speak out. They don't speak out. They're afraid, as soon as they get reported, they say, oh, we're going to go run, we're going to go run. We scared, we're going to rebrand. We don't want to be a separate. See, that's... When somebody accuses you of something, you say, where's the evidence? You don't run. You say, where's the evidence? Now, I understand that there are factions that are trying to falsely label black men as ex-tourists, but they're not ex-tourists. There are black men going in districts where they are having ex, but they are not ex-tourists. So I would say emphatically on the day, will the real passport bros stand up? Will the real passport bros stand up and affirm what their principles are and challenge the naysayers that say that they are ex-tourists? Because that's been the major negative proposition, that passport bros are ex-tourists. But when you ask them for the evidence, they can never provide you with the evidence. Because let me tell you guys something that I've learned when it comes down to forensics, or when it comes down to looking at evidence. If you come in trying to critique an ideal, a concept, or an ideology, and you come in without looking at it through the lens of objectivity, then you are complicit in a term called confirmation bias. I'm going to say it again. When you come or more or less look at a circumstance or a situation without looking at it through the lens of objectivity, then you are complicit in confirmation bias. One of the things I always strive to do is that I understand that there are some solid hidden gems that are black women in the broader aspects of America that have not been found and have not been covered. There are some hidden gems out there somewhere, like Dorothy said in The Wizard of Oz, somewhere over the rainbow. There's some good black women somewhere over the rainbow. We don't know where they're at, but there's some good sisters that are hidden gems and they have not been claimed. But listen, the majority of American women just don't qualify for good wives. I will argue that some men don't qualify to lead because they don't stand on business, and many are cowards because they seek the approval of the women in their lives instead of being men. As I said before in the past, power never conceded to nothing without a struggle. It never have, and it never will. Women are actually looking for men to stand up and say, this is what I want. And the ones that qualify will become wives. The ones that don't qualify, they will get left behind. It's too often and too long when black men see any form of danger, they continue to allow other people to define what their narrative is instead of standing on business. So the question is, and the challenge today, guys, is that will the real passport bros stand up? Because there's been a lot of malarkey. There's been a lot of malarkey. There's been a lot of lies. And there's been a lot of misinformation about the passport.
Yeah, she lie on them brothers. 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 So what going on in your man, you don't get it. And using
Mr. Passport, bro.
Exactly. Coming soon to the interview, man. We're going to talk to this man. He said he's no longer a passport bro. That's what he just told me.
the definition that people are saying about passport bros, I'm not with all that. I'm for men finding relationships outside of the country and to find something better. That's
Austin Holloman would make a video called Passport Bros in Brazil with 6-year-olds.
damn.
And see, guys, this is dangerous when you make these broad mischaracterizations about a group of men. Floyd said he wasn't a passport bro because Floyd asserted and assumed that passport bros do negative and deviant things. But once again, the passport bros is not some large conglomerate. It's not even a fraternity. It's just a way of people living their lives on their own terms, traveling at their own terms without asking anybody for permission. But now there appears to be those that are confused or those that are turncoats, in my opinion, which in essence has muddied the water because they said they want passport bros. So how can people say that the passport bros are exploiting young girls and also exploiting women when Floyd is complicit in the behavior that they accuse the passport bros of doing? It is highly irresponsible to falsely characterize a large group of men as being deviants. That's falsely a false mischaracterization. And it needs to be brought to task. You don't say that the passport bros are complicit in ex-tourism because ex-tourism is something totally different than men going in districts where there is ex. What folks don't understand is that a lot of Americans get exploited. They get scammed. They raise the prices on Americans. They treat Americans different, and they even kill Americans. But this paranoid persecution, guys, is always tied into falsehoods. It's not tied into reality. It's always tied into falsehoods because they want to, instead of looking at things objectively, they're trying to confirm the inherent bias that they already have about black men, black male agency, and also black male sovereignty. They don't want you to be sovereign black men. They don't want you to have any agency. What you men are getting in me is that you're getting a real licensed therapist. I'm not like the Cheyenne Bryants of the world. I didn't go to Chicken George State University. I didn't go to Argosy, some of these crackerjack schools. I didn't go to New Tech University. I went to an elite school. And one of the things we do when I was at UNC, we believe succinctly in looking at the evidence. We believe in succinctly looking at the evidence. Guys, we got a heavy hitter in the house, man. I got my man Dre. I call him the maestro. I got my man Dre, the maestro from Love Crossing Boys. Yes, that's my brother. And Dre, I count it an honor and a privilege, man, to have this conversation with you, man, because the title is that will the real passport bros stand up? It's consistent, Dre, with what Frederick Douglass said back in the past, that power never conceded to anything, Dre, without a struggle. And I say that all the time, and they never have and they never will. And also consistent with Harriet Tubman, she said, I could have freed a lot more, Dre, if they did not already know that they were slaves. You got a bunch of ignorant Negroes in America. You got a bunch of content creators that are falsely equivocating the passport bro movement with demons. So I had to look at this thing analytically, Dre, through the lens of what's called clinical inquiry. And so there's a concept, Dre, called collaborative empiricism. Collaborative empiricism says when I'm dealing with clients and they have what's called schemas that are not predicated in reality, I have a responsibility, Dre, and that responsibility, Dre, is to look at the evidence. Shout out to the maestro in the house, Obsidian Lamia Ali.
Shout out to Obsidian.
But
hey, what's going on, Andre? What's going on, Kosher?
Yes, sir. Man, we don't.
Hey, Andre, I sent you a text message to direct to your cell phone, man. Check it when you get a chance. Okay, cool.
So Dre and Obsidian, there's a fly in the ointment. There's a fly in the American ointment. And that fly in the ointment is not predicated in objectivity. It's predicated in confirmation bias. And we're going to get into all the nuances of this nefarious and very pernicious outcomes as they try to assail the Passport Bro movement. You did a show with Jeff St. James of City in the past, and we'll get to that in a minute. And then also, Andre, you did a very great job speaking truth to power about the mischaracterization. But let's go back and look at the evidence real quick. Guys, if you sent donations, I'm going to read it in a minute, but I want to get to the minutia of this conversation. So let's get back to it. Hold tight. Give me 1 minute.
Yeah, she lie on them brothers. 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 So what going on in your man? You don't get it. Hey, using
Mr. Passport Bro.
Exactly. Coming soon to the interview, man. We're going to talk to this man. He said he's no longer a passport bro. That's what he just told me.
The definition that people are saying about passport bros, I'm not with all that. I'm for men finding relationships outside of the country and to find something better. That's
Austin Holloman would make a video called Passport Bros in Brazil with 6-year-olds.
damn.
Instead of saying travel YouTuber or passport bro or black American guy, he said passport bros. So basically, passport bros, more than one guy, was messing with 6-year-olds when it was only one guy that got arrested. And he gives some explanation.
And then here's even worse. Sexual exploitation. According to the investigation, the man is part of the movement called the Passport Bros, formed by criminals who use economic power to exploit social vulnerabilities of Latin America and Southeast Asia. In his social media post, he declared himself a sex tourist.
Just like blown away right now that these chicks are so ugly to mid, guys. I'm like, I was in the club like, why are they not attractive enough? Like that. Most of these chicks, guys, you're not gonna want to pay the fuck. I ain't gonna lie to you. Most of these chicks, you feel like you should be for free. I ain't gonna lie. You want to use your reason. Like blown away that so much of a city could have so many average to ugly looking women, yo. It's just like,
are the Passport Bros dangerous? Are they?
So this mischaracterization of Obsidian and also Andre is tied in my mind to something called schemas. Schemas are many times maladaptive. A scheme is tied. It's a more general way to say what a schema is saying a core belief. So there's a core belief that's not only predicated in pre-antebellum slavery that black men are dangerous and that they are they're actual demons, and they want to harm and hurt women. What do you guys say about that false mischaracterization, starting with Andre, and then we'll go to Mamiya?
Well, I look at it right now is everybody it reminds me kind of like when something happens in the United States in Congress or the president or any type of senator is trying to do a cleanup. They're trying to run around like chickens with their heads cut off, assuming that, okay, I had nothing to do with it. They want to run around and say, I didn't vote for that particular bill. I didn't have a part of it. And I think that's what I'm seeing in damage control taking place right now among those who are either former passport bros or those that consider themselves passport bros. And those that know nothing about the passport bro movement, but have been making passport bro content. And that's what I'm noticing about guys right now. A lot of guys are panicking, right, and saying, well, I had nothing to do with Floyd, or I had nothing to do with Jay Rillo. And we've seen this before when it comes to politics, but at the end of the day, the buck has to stop somewhere. Right. And if it didn't start with the passport bro, where did it start? If these men have come on camera several times over and said that they're not passport bros.
They're not passport bros, right.
Why is it that the passport bros are the ones that are taking the heat for it? The two things. A, I can blame it on, I can kind of like throw the chair over there and make people look over there instead of looking at me. That's one of the ways that they're doing damage control. I brought him in. I was a part of the reason why he's known, or they're known. But then they do something evil. Now they're the guys over there. Let's put them in the passport bro category to keep the eyes off of me. The second thing is that the passport bro title get views. Let's be
That's true. Yep.
It has grown to an extent to where even mainstream media uses the term.
Right.
The average everyday person in the grocery store, many of them know the term passport bros. Is that common now? Mm-hmm. And so in order to get those 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 views, instead of saying American tourist did
right.
Thing,
right.
Put in my title, it was an American, that's a tourist.
Right.
That did a heinous act, allegedly.
Right.
They went for the views, and they end up getting the passport bros, and they're going to continue to do that. That's why people that don't travel anywhere use the passport bros in their title when they want to have to say something instead of saying American tourists. I don't agree with American black tourists. I agree with American white tourists. Instead of saying that in the title, they see that it's more lucrative to just use the passport bro moniker for views and clicks.
You know, black men historically have always been targeted. Assyrian, I've been targeted. I'm 6'5", 6'6". You've seen me in person. Mm-hmm. And, Dr. Ronald Neal came with a concept called a male agency. Shout out to Dr. Professor Ron Neal. Him and I are good friends. But there are always saboteurs behind the scene trying to suppress the agency of black men. What do you think about this new false association or this false equivocation about black men being passport bros and using these very serious allegations like ex-tourists are attacking women in church? How would you respond to that? Go ahead.
I would respond to it the same way I responded to a certain YouTuber on this channel, which precipitated this book. Mm-hmm. I would say the same thing I said to her. Mm-hmm. Why no discussion about how Stella got a groove back?
We're going to get to that. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Why do we only talk about black?
Right.
Let's work with the let's work with that. Let's work with that tourist for a moment. Let's work with that. Let's accept it. Fine.
Right.
There are books written by black female academics that I talk about in my book, mm-hmm. where she actually went with organized black women tour trips. The outfit was called Girlfriend Tours International circa 2004. Mm-hmm. Okay. The destination was Jamaica. Black women really like Jamaica for some, this is documented. It's not my opinion. On one of the trips, the woman who in the book is named Vera, she's a 50-something-year-old black woman. I want to say she's a postal worker or something like that. She turns to Bianca C. Williams, who I'm talking about, wrote the book, The Pursuit of Happiness, said, Bianca, make sure you include this in your book. Jamaica is for end of quote. Now, my question becomes this. We have Terry McMillan, who she really got on the map with how Stella got a groove back. How do we know that's true? Because not too long thereafter, maybe a year, 2 years later, it not only got optioned, it was fast tracked to a major motion picture with Angela Bassett in the title role and Taye Diggs as her 20 years junior. Now, nobody had a problem with that. That was seen as empowering. That was seen as flipping the script on double standards, gender roles, etc. To this day, nobody has a problem with that.
True.
But black men, no matter the age, no matter the occupation, no matter if they're married or not, it doesn't matter. If you're a brother and you decide to go overseas for whatever the reason, Now all of a sudden we got the pushback. So my simple question is, what's the excuse me? What's the difference here? What is the difference? Because we have evidence from Black women scholars,
right,
who are saying this is what they're doing in Jamaica.
Right.
She was with them for 4 years and documented it. So I would say to that same Black female who also said the same thing a few years ago, that the passport bros were traffickers, and that we needed government intervention to stop them.
Right.
Okay, fair enough. And shouldn't the same thing be applied to the passport Stella? They got over it. She writes in the book, Bianca C. Williams writes in the book, The Pursuit of Happiness, came out about 6-7 years ago. Yeah, something like that. She writes in the book that the women be over there, Black American women be over there, and the local guys will be saying, hey Stella, as in how Stella got her groove back.
Right.
My question, because for me, that's where the question starts. Why all the scrutiny on these brothers going to Brazil, going to Colombia, going to Africa, but nobody in Black America has a problem with how Stella got a groove back? She can make a New York Times #1 best-selling book about it. She can make a major motion, Hollywood motion picture about it. Nobody has an issue with that. I know the reason why. The reason why is because, unlike with so many Black progressives and Black feminists like the ones I respond to in this book, unlike what they're saying, what you're seeing right now is prima facie evidence and proof
Prima facie,
that
yes, sir.
Black
Right.
America is not NOT, not a patriarchy.
Right.
It is a de facto matriarchy. See, that's the quiet part nobody wants to say out loud.
Right,
The reason
right,
why we don't
right.
have any energy for Terry McMillan and how Stella got her groove back and all of these tapes, because the reason why I got put off of YouTube, because I just showed the tapes. You want to talk about that type of trafficking? I'll show you the real. And that's exactly what I did. I showed the tapes of what these ladies are doing in the grill in Montego Bay, in Kingston. I showed what they're doing on those rafts. Okay? I showed everybody what was happening, and that got me put off YouTube. And you want to know something? I'd do it again. Because if we're going to have a real conversation about who's really trafficking, who's taking advantage of poor third worlders and all the rest of it, listen, man, Black women have been doing this. How Stella Got a Groove Back came out almost 30 years ago.
Almost 30 years ago, right.
So they've been doing this for a good long minute. And again, nobody has a problem with it because Black America is a de facto patriarchy. Small M. It's not, because this is the trick that a lot of people will say. Well, Black men still run this and still run that. Run it on behalf of who?
Oh, who? Right.
Run it on behalf of who? Well, let's go with the Black church.
Right.
The Black church is still still at the top. Still have Black men. I agree. Who do they run it on behalf of? Do they run it on behalf of Black men?
Right.
Do they center Black men's experiences, needs, desires, aspirations, goals? Do they concerns? Do they focus? Is that the focal point?
Right.
Is it the focal point of any Black male? I mean, no disrespect to him. We can use somebody like an Ace Metaphor. He owns and operates tonight's conversation, but who does he run it on behalf of?
Yes, sir. I agree with you. You're right.
Who does he focus?
You're
Who does he center? Does he center Black men or does he center Black women? I am saying that the Black American community, as a direct result of slavery, read your W.E.B. Du Bois, the Philadelphia Negro, Black Reconstruction, read your E. Franklin Frazier, the Negro family in the United States. That is not accidental. That was very purposeful. It was purposeful to prevent Black men from building top-down, hierarchical, funded and operated patriarchal organizations. That was purposeful to destroy it at any attempt at doing it. Tulsa, Oklahoma, anyone? Rosewood, anyone? All these other race riots, anyone? You can look this up. What cracks me up, fellas, is the number of supposedly, ostensibly educated black people who all of a sudden now become Jason Bourne, and they get amnesia, and they don't. All of this goes out the window.
Right.
It's very simple, man. Black America is a de facto matriarchy.
It's a de facto matriarchy.
So the reason why the passport bros are getting this intense scrutiny, and I'm not excusing the couple knuckleheads. Every group is going to have knuckleheads. If you don't understand that by this old big old age, you got a much bigger problem than passport bros. Every group has their knuckleheads in it. I'm not denying that. But overall, to take this overall view while turning a blind eye to what they call the passport stellars, that is only proof that Black America is a de facto matriarchy.
It's a de facto matriarchy. And listen, I tell men to have the spirit of Jehu. Jehu was a warrior, as he was an emissary against Jezebel in the Bible. Black men need to start having the spirit of Jehu. You don't battle. Let me tell you something. The world won't change. You know, Harold Melvin, the Blue Nose, wrote a song back in the day. He said, "World don't get no better. If you can't change the world, just let it be." But black men got to keep standing firm in their convictions. And we understand that black men are not a monolith. We understand that even you, I, and Dre, we don't agree on all things or ideologies. Our worldviews are different. But we are in a crisis as black men, and therefore we are allies of a common cause. What is the common cause? The common cause is male agency. And so I take it upon myself as a licensed clinical therapist, not a fake therapist, not these therapists that went to Chicken George State University or RBC University. I went to an elite school. I didn't go to Chicken George State. I went to the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. I got my bachelor's from North Carolina Central. And I always tell men, and then I got my degree in law enforcement from Pitt Community College. And to those that think I'm a fake therapist, I'm going to have to hit them in the head upsetting because I'm on my king-ish, because there's a lot of pigeons in this house.
Yeah. Shut up, Kosher. Yeah. Shut up. Whoa. Shut up, Kosher. Ballin'. Take it back.
Like it's game time. Locked in when it's game time. Yeah, I'm ballin'. Like it's game time. Locked in when it's game time. I put in work, couldn't wait for my bag coming. 3 whole years and these records keep running. Don't talk to me if you can't match the numbers. Ballin', like it's game time. Locked in when it's game time. Yeah, I'm ballin', like it's game time. Locked in when it's game time. I put in work, couldn't wait for mine.
One of the things black men got to start doing, Dre and Obsidian, we got to start raising the standard. And we got to raise the standard and say it unapologetically. I've always said, Dre, and I've always said, Obsidian, my mom died this year, and I love my mom, and me and my dad had a good conversation.
Sorry to hear that.
But until men start demanding what they want in relationships, we'll keep getting this behavior. Men have to stand firm in their own agency, their own advocacy, and don't cower down to depression. Because every time you cower down to depression, then you are affirming the lies that they have transmitted against you. Dr. King one time said, Drake, when he was trying to fight for the rights of civil rights for black folks, he said, we got some tough days ahead. But he said, somehow we are going to make it. And so we got to have that same spirit of Jehu and that same spirit of liberty, because the image of the black man is at the forefront. How would you respond to that? And before you respond, Drake, let me finish playing this, because I'm going to get into it clinically, because the reason why I took this upon myself, because there's a lot of cognitive distortions and there's a lot of ego defense mechanisms. So let's look at this real quick, and then I want you to respond to it, Drake. Hold tight.
Deviants and abusers, or are the Passport Bros a loose organization of men from different backgrounds? Why does the world hate black male agency and sovereignty and push false agenda?
I have never, not one time, seen a nigga that go overseas and was like, yeah, that nigga's the prototype. He cool. I have never in my life, not once, not one, you cannot name me one nigga that is just great. And I was like, I could take something from him. I have never in my life, not once, ever seen a nigga that had to go overseas to buy box and said he is him, not once. Who the fuck is y'all following?
Make sure y'all go and check out Andre and Andre.
Who are y'all taking advice from? Who are y'all following and who are y'all taking advice from? That's all I'm asking.
Love Crossing Borders because he has a great channel that has great content and breaks down the mindset behind the people that's supposed to be able to move accordingly when it comes to, operating with your passport.
That's all I'm asking. Because anytime that I take advice from somebody,
I just don't understand how the most basic level men can leave America, travel to these other countries, and just pull absolute tens, like the hottest girls that you will ever see. And these men, like men that we wouldn't even look twice at, are just pulling them and convincing them to date them. Like, I truly don't understand it.
Thought this soil would hold you forever.
Some roots are meant to travel, sir. Feels like they're finally growing.
The government talked about something called compromise. And in relationships where there's the lack of compromise in the relationship, it can lead to a condition called relationship entropy. And relationship entropy comes from the word entropy comes from the word science. The scientific community, meaning things are about to implode. And this relationship is about to implode because this woman does not have emotional regulation. She doesn't appear to care about her husband. And then many times, as she's been doing here recently, based on what I've seen in the video, which I'm about to show you guys in a minute, they'll be the victim when the man is more or less crying out. Let me show you guys what I'm talking about in a minute. Just hold tight, and I'm going to show you how it appears this woman now is being the victim because she's being held accountable. Hold tight. So relationship entropy happens, Obsidian and also Dre, where there's a disequilibrium in that said relationship. I had a training in Punta Cana, Dominican Republic last year. It was called the Gottman Method. And even the professor that was teaching it, even he himself said that, I notice every time you talk about men, it's always through the lens of subjugation and mediocrity. And he agreed. He said, yeah, I have to do that because he didn't want to offend the women that were the female therapists in the group. So there's a pernicious attack on the image of not only black men, but also men in general. And as has always been Obsidian Dre in the past, when white America get a cold, consistent with Tavis Smiley, black America, especially the black man, get the flu. How would you guys respond to that?
Andre, go right ahead.
Hold tight. Dre, I got you. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dre. Go ahead, brother.
Me personally, when it comes to the black community in the United States, UK, the West itself, I gotta be honest. I don't care what they think. There are three things that passport bros, black men with passports, black expats, all expats don't owe the black community. You ready? First, 3 P's: proof, provision, and we don't owe them to provide anything.
Mm-hmm.
We don't owe them proof. We don't owe them provision. And we don't owe them to provide anything. I'll tell you what I mean. First thing I want to talk about, prove. We don't have to prove anything to anybody 600 miles away, 7,000 miles away, 2,000 miles away, 500 miles away.
Right.
The black community, I can put up all the picket signs you want. You can create all the videos. Do it. Do it, baby. Cameras got to go off, and we're going to be living our real lives in DR, our real lives in Poland, our real lives in Timbuktu.
Mm-hmm.
In some guys are even deciding to live in Mongolia. We're living our real lives. So when it comes to catering to the black community, you guys are back in the States, so I understand your battle with the black community. But those of us who have already left the community, as Obsidian often says, we are not going to provide anything. We're not going to provide any proof. Number 2, proof of why a person should travel, why a person should believe us, why a person should trust us, why a person should see our successes. We're done trying to do that. We tried to do that in the States. The first thing we tried to do is prove ourselves as black men in the States.
Right.
Has it worked?
No,
to black women? No. Okay. Number 2 then, has it worked by giving proof? We tried to prove, then we tried to give proof by example. That ain't work for black women. Then we say, okay, let's go ahead and provide to black women. Maybe they'll be with us in regards to we just provide. Because we couldn't give proof. So maybe if we as black men just provide. That ain't work. They start asking for more. Now we want you to have, we know you provide for the family, but now you need to have a 6-pack, 6 figures, 6 inch longer, and you need to be 6 feet tall. It's never going to be enough.
Never enough.
You're going to burn yourselves out in the United States trying to wait for the black community to accept your proof, accept your provision, and accept what you provide. It's not going to accept what you try to prove. It's not going to happen. So men such as myself and others who realize, listen, I only got a good 20, 30 more years left on this thing called Earth.
Right.
So I got a choice. I could burn myself out like MLK did, or I can do like Frederick Douglass and move to Paris.
Right.
I could burn myself out like John Lewis did as a senator in the state of Ohio, or I could be like his brother who was in SNCC with him, Stokely Carmichael, and I could go on back to the islands.
Mm-hmm.
So I could go ahead and be like Jesse Jackson, who's irrelevant now, or I can go ahead and be like some of the great artists and writers who black writers decided, you know what, I'm moving to Paris. Because even they realize after their struggles of the 50s, 60s, 70s, the black community is not going to accept the 3 areas. Right. No matter what you do, you can't provide enough. No matter what you do, you can't prove enough. And no matter what you show, you don't have enough proof enough.
Right.
And since you can't do those 3 things and it's not enough, that's going back to battle back and forth. Say what you will about passport, bro. Say what you will about black men with passports. Say it. But you aren't out here with us. That's like us going to battle with women who are yelling at us through a bulletproof glass. I can't hear you. You're irrelevant to me. I can't. What? Baby, I'm 6,000 miles away. Once I turn your TikTok video off, you don't exist on the planet.
Right.
And even the better beauty of that, once I turn your TikTok video off, I don't exist on your planet.
That's true. That's right.
That's why I try not to be kind of like crude, because I understand, once again, that there are brothers such as yourselves that are going to battle back home, and hats off to you guys. I kid you not. Keep the torches burning. But as for us who have gotten our passports, we can't battle on both fronts. We can't build new lives in other countries, live the American dream outside of America, network, build brotherhoods, build new sisterhoods. In other words, build a new image of blackness outside of America. And at the same time, every time something happens in the black community in America, y'all expect us to go to battle from 2,000 miles away. We can't do it.
We can't do that, right? I totally agree.
That's why you hear individuals like me. We're not shunning the black community. We just aren't around to help the black community. So the only thing that I and others are trying our best to do, the positive brothers, not the Pookies, Ray Rays, nothing now, not the Keishas with a passport. We try to set an example for those that do want to be on this side of the black experience. So if they want to stay in the States, in the United Plantation of America for the rest of their days, that's cool. And go to war, that's cool. But as for us, our job out here is to try to set a positive example. And to piggyback off the topic for today, we need positive examples outside the United States for black people, because every once in a while, a situation like a Floyd or a Jay Rillo pops itself up. And the last thing we need is for the Pookies and Ray Rays and Nookman image to be broadcast internationally more than us positive brothers that are out here.
Right.
That are out here.
Right. And I'm gonna get into that because what's happening with this passport bro phenomenon is no different than modern dating and relationships. Those that are shaming men that are passport bros. And, you know, some guys just have passports. My daddy got a passport. Me and my dad just got back. Me and my dad and my two sisters, we wanted to celebrate our father. Our father's 82. And my dad and I had a good conversation about women. You know, I've joked with Obsidian. I've said in the past, I don't like no other man for what he do in his own home. I've always said, and Obsidian is my witness, that I'm not paying full price for used cat. I'm just not going to. I don't knock no other man to do it. That's their business. But I came up with a term called hoflation. We're gonna prorate it because you're not a virgin. You ain't ran that. I'm just not paying full price. My dad got this is what my daddy got, and I'm gonna prove it to y'all guys in a minute. My mom was a virgin. She was wife ready, and she didn't have any kids. And my dad paid all the bills. But you got chicks now that's been ran through. They got kids, but they don't. In the South, we don't say children. We say children. They got children by other men, and they want you to pay all the bills. But then when you ask them what a black man getting, it's crickets. You don't hear anything because they don't care about you. They don't see you as an extension they don't see themselves as being an extension to your kingdom or your program. They see you as an extension to themselves. You like the pocketbook in the closet, and your job is to make her happy. And what I'm telling you, men, is that in true healthy relationships, if you want to have what's called an equilibrium, in congruence, you got to have something called positive negative homeostasis a lot of times. So if you want to get the best in the relationship, the man got to benefit and the woman got to benefit. The OJs wrote a song back in the day, and they say you got to give the people what they want. I'm thinking about writing a book of Sid and Dre, and the name of the book is going to be called Black Love Without Consent. And I'm going to call it that because we never consented to ask black men what they want in relationships. We never asked a black man what he wants, Dre. Right. And Sid, we never asked him because guess what? Because we don't care. We just think black men are supposed to take the worst of the worst of the worst of the worst deals and don't say anything about it and be grateful. And I would never do. I will die before I tap dance to the whims of a modern day woman. I'm not going to tap dance to a man, but I definitely going to tap dance to a woman. Shout out to my man Gregory Scotland. He said, "Hi, Kosher. The latest incident is an example of those who are really for black men to examine those who are quick to throw us under the bus when the heat is on." Austin dumped on the manosphere. Yeah, I love Austin, but that's disappointing because what Austin was saying was a gross mischaracterization. I got nothing against Austin. I love Austin, but that was a gross mischaracterization. Gregory Scotland said in 2026, we as strong black men have to point out simps, black men who are afraid to offend black women, and those scared black men who don't want to work together with others. Justin Moore said they're listening in Denver, Colorado. Thanks for all the information. Thank you, brother Justin. And guys, do me a favor, hit the like button, share the stream, donate. If you want to really help me, send cash apps because YouTube takes 20%. And also shout out to my man Timothy Howard. He said gifted coaching with 5 memberships. So thank you, brother. I'm going to show you and Obsidian something because this is really going to get to the crux of the matter. It's going to add nuance to the conversation. Now, and let me tell you guys something. It took me hours to put this thing together. And I would say days. I put a lot of heart and work in putting this thing together. And so I want you guys to look at it together. So as a therapist, I always look at things through the lens. I always try to look at things from a clinical lens. It's a lot of different things going on. But what you got going on, Obsidian and Dre, is a concept called labeling. Ever since the inception of the Americas, ever since the inceptions of being in the South, ever since the inception of everything, black men have always been seen through the lens of pathology. Would you guys agree with that, yes or no?
Yeah.
Black men have always been seen as being pathological. Now, I think women by nature are inherently afraid of men. There's a concept that I heard another psychologist, she called it paranoid persecution. I came up with a concept called schema afflictions. A schema affliction is predicated in fear and pain based on what happened in the past. So the cognitive distortion that you're seeing now as it relates to the assailant of black men is this. Black men, they are all dangerous. How many times have y'all heard that? How many times y'all heard that either by implication or by examples that black men are dangerous? Have you guys heard that?
Oh, yeah. Several times throughout life.
Right. They are all ex-tourists. That's been the prevailing point that black men are ex-tourists. Have you guys not heard that?
Oh, absolutely.
All passport bros are ex-tourists, and there's no example. Passport bros exploit women, and kids. That's a cognitive distortion. Have you guys not heard that? All these things is part of what's called the minimization of masculinity. It seeks to minimize and distort male agency and also male sovereignty. But on the flip side, an ego defense mechanism is used to protect the ego. And there's one called rationalization. They try to rationalize their position about black men and passport bros by saying they are all goofies, lame, and have no game. And I saw a comment from somebody on a YouTube channel, and they said that black men need to learn game versus traveling, paying $3,000 to travel and pay $40 per box. And you know what I never understood, Dre, and I'm saying is this. There's a concept called acculturated prostitution. Black men in America, what they're doing when they go on expensive dates, they're actually engaging in a form of prostitution. The only difference is it's delayed gratification in that form of prostitution versus going abroad. Now, I'm not here to tell men to commit fornication. I'm not saying that. But my point is, those that try to shame black men, how's it any different when you expect black men to pay for several dates in the name of calling yourself a lady, and then in the process of paying for several events, then you may or may not get some cat, versus saying, you know what, screw it, I'm just gonna cut out the middleman, and I'm just gonna go ahead and get on the plane, and I'm gonna do what I want to do if I choose to do it. So it's rationalization. They are all goofies and lames, and they have no game. And then it's displaced aggression. Their mama is black, and they can't get a real black woman. How would y'all respond to these psychological or psychopathological conditioning in the form of labeling, cognitive distortions, or ego defense mechanisms? How would you guys respond to it?
Well, the first thing I would say, like I said earlier, nobody asks, what about how Stella got a groove back? Like that's never part of the conversation. And I don't think that that's by accident. It's not by accident because Black America is a de facto matriarchy. So let me take it back to our brother, both our brothers, Austin and our brother Anton. Start with Austin first. I don't know if either one of you saw this. Some people in the chat room might recall this. About 2 years ago, circa 2023, there was a very disturbing live stream that Austin Holloman did from his, I want to say he's native to Texas, right? Dallas, I believe. He had gone back home, and while home visiting with his mother, he had a very, to me, it was deeply disturbing interaction with her. She was cursing at him, berating him, shouting at him, talking in a very negative way about his father, etc. In that moment, that really, and this is the first time I've spoken on to this on camera since. That really got to me. That hurt me. And I've had Austin on my show before. I've interviewed him, but I've never met him. I attempted to reach out to him to try to get in. This is in 23, so we was in Atlanta. Coach, you remember this? We was in Atlanta. I attempted to get him out to the conclave in Atlanta. I couldn't reach him. Now let's go to Anton. So, as you showed in your clip, will the real Anton Daniels please stand up? Because we see Anton wholeheartedly with his whole chest, full-throated endorsement of our brother Andre.
Right.
We saw it. But then he turns around, and Andre recently did a live on this. I wrote a Patreon post about it, where Anton is now anti-passport bro. Okay. So in his case, he has a daughter. And I'm being objective here. Studies have shown that in families where there are more females than males, that the preferred dating strategies of the females will predominate. So what is a preferred mating strategy for women. Preferred mating strategy is for women, high quality mates who do extended courting and delayed sex. Okay, that's yeah. So I have a brother from another mother from Sweden. I interviewed him on my channel over on Rumble. By the way, everybody can follow me on Rumble. Just look for my name. You'll find me over there, Rumble. His name is David Lorenzen. He told me that the American passport is very expensive compared to him. The krona is basically the Swedish dollar. They call it a krona. If I remember correctly, it costs in their currency. It costs about $40 to get a passport. Okay. When I got my passport, it was upwards of $300. Right.
Wow.
I got the card and this and that, expedited all whole McGilla. So his point was, it's very expensive to get an American passport compared to other countries in the world. It's very, and he's in the NATO West. And my point is this, because there's been a lot of discussion about guys being broke, dusty, etc., being passport bro. And you do hear stories on TikTok. A guy goes to Dominican Republic and he's busted and he's begging people to get his flight back home. Oh, granted, but that's not the norm. Here's the truth, and Andre will back me up on this. This is not my opinion. This is the State Department. Americans who own passports are more educated than the rank and file American. That's a fact. On average, that's a fact. They make more money than the average American. They tend to live on the coastal cities, okay, on the coasts of the United States. They're not so much from the interior of the country. Now, again, Andre is here. You can back me up on this. These are U.S. State Department figures, government agency stats about what the rank and file profile of an active U.S. passport holder is. Okay, these passport bros are not broke. Far from it. Now, they may not be independently wealthy. I'll grant you that. But broke, they're far from broke. They're far from it. And I think what the issue with Anton is, and I have a lot of empathy for both him and our brother Austin. I think what the issue for him is that if this thing with the passport bros, and by the way, brothers going abroad for mates, be it a long time or a good time, has gone up 200%.
Oh, wow.
In the last year alone.
I didn't know that. 200%.
If it continues at this pace, I don't know Anton's daughter's age, but I would imagine by the end of the decade, we're looking at her going into full on dating by that point, but circa 2029, 2030. By that time, there is a real possibility that the passport bros could tip somewhere between 5 and 10%. If it does, if by the end of the decade, or say another decade from now, circa 2035, that the passport bro population grows, expat population grows from between 5 and 10%, it will prove, these are the numbers that I got, crunching the numbers, it will prove catastrophic for Black America. The reason why is because another conclave brother, all you Kosher and you Andre, you're my conclave brothers. And I'm getting somewhere with this. I'm kind of rambling, but I'm getting somewhere with it. Another conclave brother of ours, Chris Hutchinson, featured in the Wall Street Journal last year, him and his wife, he crunched the numbers and he found that for every time a Black man in the United States files a DS-11 form with the State Department to get his passport, that is a potential net loss to a Black woman somewhere in Black America of almost 30 grand every year. That's year on year, 30 grand, year on year hit. The average Black American woman does not make more than 45 grand a year. Only 4 states in the union, and technically it's not 4, it's actually 3 states plus the District of Columbia. Only those 3 states and DC is where Black women make more than 45 grand a year. So you do the math here. It really does come down to the numbers and math. If And I'm not saying Anton, whipped out his calculator on his phone and he got a spreadsheet. I'm saying just him being a dad intuitively. He kind of, and he works with numbers anyway because he's a millionaire guy. So he's looking at the numbers here. If 10% of guys become passport bros and they roll out and pretty much don't come back, that is 10% less of the type of men that he would like for his daughter.
Yeah.
And I feel a lot of empathy for that. The last thing I would say, both about Anton and Austin, and for that matter, any other brother out there that's taking this kind of anti-passport bro tack, is this. And you two brothers know this. The Black Manosphere Conclave in Miami, we pulled about close to 500 brothers in Miami in September. That would be roughly 100 more than we did in Houston last year. We're scaling up. I suspect that we will be somewhere between 600 and 1,000 plus in Vegas next year. 79% of Conclave brothers as of 2024 are active passport holders. Half of that number travels out of the country half a dozen times a year. Okay, 79% overall. Okay, it's not hard to look at the math here. And what I find is that when brothers like Anton, brothers like Austin, what I find among brothers like that, they all have something in common. None of them have ever been to a conclave. None of them. Think about it. We got, like I said, last year we had 400 in Houston at the Four Seasons. This year we had about 500 at the Hyatt Regency in Miami. Are any of these brothers online talking about passport bros? Is this passport bros? Is that this tourist? That tourist? This tour? You don't hear from them.
Right.
The brothers that say this never come to a conclave.
Right.
They're not conclave brothers. And I hate to say this, but they are kind of black female identified.
Yeah. And men that identify with black females and throw on the other black men on the bus, they're cowards in my opinion. And they're dangerous because they're saboteurs of what black men are trying to do. I want to go back and reiterate something Obsidian and Dre real quick. And black men are deemed as being some of the most desired men in the world. They're deemed as being the most desired in the travel world. And Dre, I want you to add some credence to it because I'm sure you know because you traveled abroad. We will argue that when it comes down to money and status, the white men tend to be the most powerful overall. I would say that black men are the most sexually desired overall. Overall, black men we might not have the money as white men, but I would say we're more sexually desired. And I would say Asian men are more neutral or the least desired. And I'm going to add to that real quick with this clip, and then we're going to get deep back into the conversation because Al Greaves talked about that. So hold tight.
When you date a woman and she may be a potential wife, it's a competition thing all the way. I can't take it no more.
They feel propped up because they feel more beholden to the government. And then their man comes second. That's why they figure that they're strong, independent, don't need no man because they have the government.
Because the men are failing us, to be honest. Guys thinking about themselves and they'll think about you after you react.
You don't hear anything about being good wives and all the other stuff. What you hear is you strong and you independent. You can do it on your own. You got black girl magic, black girl rock, but you ain't said nothing about black family.
My mother is like what they consider to be the strong black woman. I feel like I projected that onto the guys that I dated.
Ladies have no idea how stiff their competition really is. You have no clue how black men are viewed in the rest of the world. We are the #1 most sexually desired man on the face of this planet.
They would call Jesus Dusty if he was here living in America because of the gross narcissism that a lot of our women have.
Shout out to Brother Walter for that $25 super chat. Shout out to Brother Walter for that further $25 super chat.
It's the money.
Shout out to brother Walter Watts for the $25 super chat. Thank you, sir, for showing so much love. Guys, don't let brother Walter be the only one to donate. Guys, share the stream if you don't have any money. Get the likes up. Let's get the likes up, guys. Go check out Love Crossing Borders with my brother Dre. Check out his books and his paraphernalia. But also, guys, get the likes up because this is a very powerful conversation, a much needed conversation. And we have to dispel the myths associated with this movement that's taking the world by storm. What do you think about, Dre, about the most desired, this little clip I got up with the most powerful, most desired, and the most neutral? Briefly tell me what you think about that, how much truth it is to it from your experience being an expat abroad.
Hearing it come from El Guapo is validation enough. But when you're out here, you're actually seeing how you're treated as a man of color compared to the local men in many countries who were raised for generations with those women, to see how white men are looked up on, not for their intimacy or their swag, if you will, but for their economics or their status. So outside of status or money, women globally aren't even looking at white dudes like that. No offense to my white brothers. So they're looking at the white dude as he could be a lick, because I know he white, so he might got some money. So
Right.
White dude's more like a lick, like a come up. We know that y'all are more naive than black men, because black men ain't going for everything. So we could just throw you some easy sex, white brother, and you'll fall for anything. So they think that the white dude is gullible. They think that, the white dude is gullible. They think that he got money. It's all these narratives that are not true about all white dudes, but they assume globally that white dudes, when it comes to money and status, he got it going on. So in regards to that, they're number one. But then once you take the money aspect out of it, and you take the power aspect out of it, and you just have a man standing next to a man, everywhere you go in the world, women are looking for brothers. And when they say sexually, they don't just mean sexually in the sense of you can smash it when you want to, chocolate. That's true. But they also mean in the sense of intimacy. They want to be up under the black man. Most black men are tall, so they want to be able to look up at him.
Look up to him, right?
When they're sitting next to you, their white skin or their Latin complexion,
right,
piggybacks off of your chocolate.
Yes, sir.
They love the fact that you got a swag about you that they don't see in their own country.
Yes, sir.
They love the fact that they may be in Poland or in any Scandinavian country, Eastern European country, and a brother show up, and it's like, we all gonna have him, girl. Why? Because it ain't that many brothers here that can make us laugh and make us smile. And we gotta tolerate only white dudes because we live in a majority only white country. So when brothers do show up, the party is on. And I don't just mean in the party sense. Like I said, you could just be in a room with white girls, and they just love the fact that they can cuddle up under you and sit up under you and laugh and listen to your jokes, and they like your accent, you're exotic to them. Back home, you just another Negro. But when you're traveling the world, and we're proof of this. When you're traveling the world as an African American man, and they grew up watching Will Smith. They grew up watching Snoop Dogg. They grew up watching everything from Different Strokes like we did in their language, and watching Good Times and watching the Jeffersons that's translated into their countries. They grew up on Wu-Tang Clan. And so now the black men who they grew up watching on television and they idolized are the men that they're interested in, because those men are now coming to Germany. Those men are now coming to Egypt. Those men are now coming to Thailand, and not just the military men. And that's what makes the black man so desired, so wanted around the world. Jesus said this. He said, a prophet is without honor, like you always quote, in his own country, among his own people.
Yes, sir. That's
Black
true.
men,
Yes, sir.
you are the prophet. The Bible says that you are the prophet and the priest of your household.
Yes, sir.
And if Jesus said the prophet and the priest gets respect around the world.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Preach.
What makes you think that Jesus as a prophet who didn't get respect at home?
Yes,
Remember, they want to
Yes,
stone Jesus in his own neighborhood.
Yeah, they want to stone him. Yes,
They want to throw him off a cliff in his own neighborhood.
Yes, sir. Yes,
But
sir.
now look at what Jesus did globally. It's the exact same thing for you black dudes. And I know some of you brothers are frustrated. Some of y'all on suicide watch, it seems like every time you turn around,
watch.
you got to take drugs, you got to smoke your weed, you got to do everything because them sisters back home stressing y'all out. We
Right.
get it.
Right.
We really do. But the part that you aren't getting is that you are so valued.
They don't even know it, man.
And I think that's the part that probably causes guys like me to kind of like let go of whatever's taking place in the States. Because I know that the 50 million black people in the States, let's say 50 million black people in not in the States, but in North America, including Canada, Mexico, Greenland, and all the Caribbean islands, it adds up to be 50 million black people. Cool. Let's say 40% of those, or let's just say 30 million are black women, or 20, even make it like this, 20 million are black women. When you have right up under you in South America, 150 million black people, and you dudes on suicide watch for them people that's up north, you're sitting up there. The black woman in the United States makes up only a 4% amount of the women in the world in general. I don't think many men realize that. Black women only make up 4% of all the black women in the world. And y'all losing y'all mind over 4%ers. And I often talk about that because I want to sink in. You about to half of y'all in jail because of jealousy for a 4%er.
For a 4%, right.
Fights.
Right.
Trying to get back your 4%er. Some of y'all sit back and stress out and get in arguments you done had babies by 4%ers.
Right.
When 96% of black women, the type that you want to be with, the type that you want to be the representation of the black love and black community, don't live in the United States. Black love actually lives outside the United States, not just in the United States. So all you guys that keep on trying, I love my black sisters. Do you really? Then come on out here and get the 96% that's waiting for you.
Right. Give me a minute, Steve. I'm gonna let you cook. I want to address some L. Ham. So I think there's some truth to what L. Ham is saying, but I think you got to add nuance to it. I did say that white men are the most powerful overall.
Correct.
I don't think they're the most sexually desired.
No,
I would
not at
argue
all.
that black men are the
Not
most
at all.
sexually desired. Do they go to white men because they got money and status and power?
Yes, they do.
They're
That's the
desired
only
because of their
reason.
money, status, and power, but not necessarily for their sexual prowess. Black men are mostly notified for their sexual prowess. Like you said, Drake, tall, black men have always been seen as more swaggadocious. And I think some white men acknowledge that. We don't have a problem saying that our white brothers, they got power. I even talk to some of my white brothers, say, y'all are venerated highly abroad because they got money and power. But if you're a black man that are tall, big, and got money, power, and status, you're a beast. You are a trifecta, and a trifecta to be reckoned with. And like Kobe said, white men always will ask if they've been with a black man. Black men never ask that question. Part of that is they think black men are inferior, but also I think the most part of it is they're afraid of that meat. They're afraid that they've been blacked out. There's a term I correct called blacked out a city. They're afraid that their white snow bunny.
Oh yeah, there's a thing on called black. There's just one word, black.
Yeah, they've been blacked out. They've been blacked out.
And the premise of that channel on is that you got a lot of black men, and it is a lot of stereotypes, but it is what it is. A lot of black men with non-black women. I think a lot of you brothers know what I'm talking about, because I know I'm not the only one that watches.
No, you're not the only one. You know what you're talking about.
So yeah, black. But let me say this. while yes, there is some truth to what we're talking about in that regard, I don't want brothers to sell ourselves too short here. There's another reason why a lot of brothers are kind of really favored overseas, and I don't have anything scientific on this. Andre can, and that for that matter, you, Kosher, can back me up on this.
Right.
It's more anecdotal, but from the reports I've gotten, it goes something like this: Black men are very, I guess what you could say, more liberal, small L, in comparison to other groups of men around the world. So what do I mean?
Yes, sir. You're correct.
What I mean by that is Black men are a lot more forgiving in terms of body shapes and figures of women.
Right.
Black men are, when compared to other groups of men.
I agree.
Black men are more forgiving with regard to single moms than other groups of men comparatively. Black men are more forgiving with women that are older or more mature than other groups of men. Black men are much more in favor of or supportive of women that are ambitious or highly educated, quite contrary to the popular opinion that you hear on social media. When you compare us to other groups of men, we do tend to be much more in favor of that. We don't take as dim a view. We tend to be more in favor of women that want to be leaders and want, business leaders, political leaders, and so on. We have much more small L liberal ideas and values in relationships when compared to other men. So I think these factors are the more muted or quiet factors that a lot of women around the world really like about Black men in comparison to others, along with the
Yeah, and like Dre said, like we understand that it's a myth of the BBC, but in myths there are truths. That's why it's called a myth. A myth means it's not necessarily spread out comprehensively abroad. It's not 100% comprehensive truth, but there's some truth to it. And once they get blacked out, many of them can't go back to. They can't go back, man. they can't go back once they get blacked out, man. They can't go. They can't go back. Once they get blacked out, some of them got blacked out by Dre before he got married.
Oh, without a doubt. My first girlfriend was white. My second girlfriend was Asian.
Oh,
then
really?
I got with the sister. Oh, yeah. My first Wendy, blonde, blue-eyed.
Right. So
and my second was Lisa, Asian girl, built like a sister. Then I got with the sister, and she cheated on me.
Oh, did she really?
The Asian girl worshipped me. The white girl worshipped me. The sister, she cheated on me.
Right. Shout out to my man, Jason Henderson. What's up, family in chat? The Carolines in the house. So I came up with a term, Dre. You and I had a good conversation in the backdrop. And guys, I need y'all to listen to this because there's a mischaracterization of what the Passport Bros are. And that's why I had to banter with a real Passport Bros stand up. And Dre, I got something that was dedicated to you, and I'm gonna let you see it. So there's a term that I created called pan-global sexuals. Pan means across, global means they go to all countries and they go for sexual deviance. And so I call them pan-global sexuals. I even created a term called pan-global philia. The word philia comes from the Greek means desire for hedonism and pleasure. A pan-global sexual is a man that goes abroad for the extent of getting box and cat. That's what Floyd was doing. He said he's not a passport bro, but the same things or verbiage that he used to demonize the passport bros is what he was actually doing himself. And also Jay Rillo, they are pan-global sexuals. And I'm going to talk about the dichotomy between ex-tourist, and Dre, I need you to give me feedback, and also between ex-tourist and also between between men that go in ex-districts where they may or may not get involved in that kind of behavior. We're going to talk about that because we got to add nuance to the conversation, because people are going to stop lying on the image of Black men when they don't have any evidence. And I'm sick of it, and that's why I'm one of the few in these spaces that are truly apologetic masculine. And I understand sometimes speaking up for Black men, you're not going to make money, you ain't going to get the views.
Well, let's stop right there, Casey, because
go ahead, bro.
I disrupt that idea. Why Black men can't make money talking about being a stand-up man for and catering to other Black men? We need to Black men need to and I don't like evoking slavery. I remember one time, Dre, you really admonished people on a live, and I want to thank you for doing that. I'm not one of these black people that every time at the drop of a hat, I'm invoking racism, slavery, Jim Crow. That's not me. But when I do it, I want it to stick. And on this particular point, in the year 2025, about to be 2026, there is no good reason why black men can't make a shit ton of money helping other black men become the best version of themselves. I want to understand why we can't do that. There is something in black men themselves. It's not the white man doing it. It ain't black women doing it. It's something you're limiting yourself. You know, FDR was right about one thing. We only have one thing to fear, and that's fear itself.
Fear itself, right?
Stop being so afraid, black man. What are you afraid of? Right. Exactly. What are you afraid? This is the thing that we talk about at the conclave, at the Black Manosphere Conclave, which is going down in Vegas next year. The thing I talk with a lot of brothers about, what are you afraid of, man? Well, exactly what are you afraid of? You afraid what the Klan going to come here and lock you up? I mean, come on, man. What are you afraid of? Why are so many brothers so afraid to take a chance on them? I'm not willing to risk it on a whole lot of other things because that's not in my control. But I'm willing to risk it all on me. I'll bet on me every day and twice on Sunday. A lot of brothers have to be willing to take a risk on themselves. Andre took a risk on himself, man. He took a bet on himself, and look at where he is today. He's better for it. Kosher Clinician took a bet on himself, man. He's better for it.
Yeah, true.
So I say to a lot of brothers, and it to me, the money alone means nothing if you don't have the other components. Brotherhood, good mental health, good physical health, know how to handle yourself, reading, holding your hands, and other things. We had some pew instruction in Miami. That was wonderful. We want to bring the brother back, Trigger Mike. We want to bring him back again in Las Vegas. All of those things, man, knowing how to dress well and present well and speak well. And having skills, not just to interact with the ladies, but in business settings, in other, non-sexual, non-romantic, social settings. We covered a whole thing at the conclave. I don't understand why right now, this brother Kosher Clinician with two other conclave brothers on the air in real time, why that chat room ain't lighting up with super chats.
I totally agree with you, man. I totally agree with you.
Why is that?
You proved my point. I agree with you, brother. That's why I'm saying, I've always said, man, I don't want to deviate necessarily from male-centered content, but I'm going to have to start looking at other means, because, it's a lot of work. Like I told you, Dre, and Dre, you're my witness. I'm a licensed therapist, so I work, but it took me days to put this show together. It took a lot of time and days. And I'm sitting, you can tell about the quality of the show. It ain't something I just do together as a fly-by-night. It took a lot of time. It took a lot of thinking. And that's what the problem is, man. Black men don't really support black men at the level that they should. I'm not a fake therapist. I'm a real therapist that happens to advocate for black men. And I try to think about things in the concept text of how to benefit black men. But you're right. We don't get that. Now, if I was, listen, I'm sitting. If I was a female, if I was, what's the chick name, Danica Marie or Six to Goddess, man. I'll be getting plenty of money. But that's why a lot of black men say, you know what, man, I'm not doing black male content because there ain't no money in it, and you work like a slave. You work like a dog for pennies. It's almost like you're in the chitlin circuit, man. And God said, you know what? Because let's be real, Dre. YouTube is a business. It's a business. I don't do this for free. It takes a lot of time. So I tell men that they love what I'm trying to do, what Obsidian's trying to do, what Dre's trying to do. Support black men. A pan-global sexual is what Jay Rillo and Floyd is. Floyd said he's not a passport bro, but the same thing he accused passport bros of doing, that's what he allegedly has done. It's a broad overgeneralization of Obsidian and also Dre, and also it's the minimization of black male agency. In the DSM-5, there's a concept called paraphilias. The word para means to go between, philia means sexual or pleasure. So paraphilias means I love many forms of sexual deviancy. You got paraphilias, you got exhibitionism. I'm not gonna say the other word, but starting with a P, philia. And so that's what it means. So Floyd allegedly and Jay Rillo are pan-global philic because they love going abroad to many countries committing sexual crimes. Now, let's look at the real evidence, Dre. And Obsidian, I also want to look at this thing logically, because you're 100% correct. That's why a lot of times guys say, you know what, man, that's why a lot of guys sign, Obsidian, get down with black women, because black women support male content. They support it. And that's why black men, some of them, run game and lie and tell them what they want to hear, because they know they're going to get that bag. I want to look at this thing, guys, from a true clinical perspective. And here are the real passport bros. The real passport bros would be men like Dre, men like Richie Mack, men like my man, the International Quiet Storm.
Right.
When you look at statistics, there's a such thing called a central tendency, Obsidian and also Dre. The tendency is that they tend to falsely associate black men as 20 deviations below the mean. That's Floyd, that's Jay Rillo, and the passport Pookies. So they tend to take those men and put them as the mean or the average. But they're not the average. The average guy right here with the passport are good men. If you look at it from a data statistical analysis. If you got deviations to the left, it's a broad overgeneralization of black men. They say that all black men are the Jay Rillos, the Floyds, and also the passport Pookies. But that's not the case. The truth is, most passport bros are average men. They're probably military, have done pretty well. But I would say that Dre is probably him, and Richie and also Quiet Storm are deviations above the mean, because they are more in the higher performance when you think about what they're trying to do, what they've done. Dre, how would you respond to this to using data and statistics? Even though this is not a true data analysis, I'm just trying to give a graphical picture about how they overgeneralize us with the ones to the left, but they minimize passport bros when they come down to those to the right or those in the middle. What do you guys think about that graph that I created?
The reason that they do that is because they know that if they're loud enough, people will believe it. Same thing like President Trump. Think about it. President Trump, 90% of the things they've already used barometers and facts and stats to prove that huge amount of what he says on a daily basis is a lie. Mm-hmm. But he knows, even though I just told a lie, if I say it enough, people in the United States are naive enough to believe it, because they won't do their homework, they won't do any studies, they won't read like Obsidian and the rest of us. So since these people are so naive, they're not gonna, if I sit back and I say the passport bros are this, or the black expats are this, or black men that travel are that, and if I repeat it and repeat it and repeat it, and then that's part one of the problem, because if you repeat something that's a lie long enough, people will believe that it's true. We've seen that throughout. That's why propaganda always works. During the time of war, or when the United States is always going off to war, all of a sudden notice all these military movies come out. Saving Private Ryan comes out, and then all these other movies of military sniper movies come out. To save his platoon type of movies come out. When the last time y'all saw a military movie come out? You know why we haven't seen one in a while? Because we aren't at the stage of war. As soon as we ended with Afghanistan, that propaganda of American military might ended, didn't it? Let President Trump start a war, a serious war with Venezuela or another country. Watch how many war movies start coming out, using propaganda to prop up why they're doing what they're doing, with no facts, no stats, no proof. Mm-hmm. So that's one problem. The second problem I often have, and I put this in the lap of black men. Black men that are content creators and traveling,
right?
A lot of the Pookies talk too dang much.
Right.
I see white boys who have been content creators in the same countries for years. They go to Thailand. They go to the Philippines. They go to France and Spain. They will show you the party scenes and the funds and the museums of Barcelona. They will take you to London and show you the pubs. White boys will bring you to Colombia and show you some salsa dancers. turn that camera off and have sex with every woman in that club.
Mm-hmm.
You never know their business.
Mm-hmm.
Black men, they will have a tendency over the last 5 years to show all their business.
Right.
We never had no money, and we act like we've never had sex.
Right. And I think it's a reason for that, Drake.
They just put it on camera the way that we childishly do. Now, mind you, and don't forget your thought, Kosher.
Yes,
don't
sir.
forget your thought.
Go ahead.
I understand traveling on this scale for Black men is in its infancy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not naive to a lot of this travel is new to a lot of guys that aren't military or guys that always had money. So I give a little bit of grace to that.
Right.
And I know social media in the hands of Black men is new as well. So I'll give a little grace to that too. But I still have to acknowledge that I'm seeing what I'm seeing in order for change to take place. And what I'm seeing is a lot of brothers put too much of their business out there. Number 3 thing that they do, they first of all, like I said, the first thing that I mentioned was in regards to propaganda. If I tell a lie enough, people start believing it. When it comes to passport bros of Black men traveling, I ain't gotta have any proof. As long as I keep yelling the same lies, especially coming from the mouths of Black women. If Black women tell a lie on a Black man enough, the rest of the world's gonna believe it, because who's the closest to the Black man? The Black woman. So they figure, hey, if anybody knows that these passport bros are crazy, it must be the Black woman, because these are her dudes, which is absolutely wrong. Number 2, I said, Black men talk too much.
Right.
When it comes to putting out our sexual exploits on camera. And then the third thing I said is that I understand that it's in its infancy.
Right.
And it's brand new in regards to Black men on media, for our social media, and not having a little bit of decorum about themselves.
Right.
The last thing I want to mention is this. If we don't change how we showcase ourselves on camera, we'll still be attacked 20 years from now. It's in our hands.
Right. And that's why I decided to do this show.
Evidence to use. Once we slow down the evidence, we know that white dude's been whoremongering for years. But there's not enough evidence on social media to prove it on the scale of brothers.
That's a good point.
And that's my last point.
Yes, sir. That's an excellent point, Dre. I agree with you 100%. What do you think about the graph, Obsidian, Dre? What do you think about the graph? I try to use graphics and use something that was simple but at the same time relevant. There's a broad overgeneralization of Black men being passport bros associated with deviation below the left. I would say the truer passport, the ones like you are in the top, your deviations above the mean. I think your deviations above the average, because you got the mean, the median, and the mode. The mean is right in the middle. This is the average performer that's trying to get to where you're at, where Rich is probably at, and also Quiet Storm. A lot of men are not in that category. You're one of the higher elites. You're one of the elites. But there are a lot of good men that are in the middle that are becoming. They're burgeoning, like Kevin Samuels talked about Henry's. I don't know what the acronym means. But what do you think about the graphic, Obsidian, about this broad overgeneralization of Black men, which is it's a cognitive distortion?
I think it's dead on accurate, and I think that what my brother Andre said is 100% correct. At the Black Manosphere Conclave itself, I'm working on a book right now. I just wrote this one. The Gospel of St. Kevin Samuel. Just wrote this one. It's my 4th book. I'm working on a 5th, or technically a 6th book right now, which is a direct response to Professor Scott Galloway. He's got a book out called Notes on Being a Man. I know you guys heard about it. And since he has a lot to say about the manosphere, I thought that a manospherian should respond back, and I am. And I just wrote a chapter yesterday about a code. And the Black Manosphere Conclave never had a written code. It was a kind of unspoken thing. It will be formally written down in the book that I'm writing on now, responding to Professor Scott Galloway's Notes on Being a Man. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because of what Andre said. He said that it's our image and the way we're going to be regarded moving forward. However things shake themselves out with Floyd and whoever else, one thing is certain, it's in our hands. Our destiny is in our hands. The Black Manosphere Conclave, I and my fellow founding father conclave brothers, Theo Wav and Shannon Rawls, we came up with a code. And that code is business or business casual. That's your uniform. You are expected to be in uniform. If you want, let's just get right to this. If you want Black women to respect you, which I hear a lot of Black men say, you want their submission, you want their cooperation, you want their support. Fine. First, you have to learn how to respect yourself. A lot of Black men, there's a really good movie. Talk about Passport Bros. You ever, and you guys are, well, I don't know about you, Kosher, but I know Andre is close. He and I are basically the same age. Have you seen this movie, Andre, called Black Rain?
No.
It was a movie in the 1980s. I want to say the 80s, could be early 90s, starring Michael Douglas. He plays a New York police officer. He's a cop. He's a detective who goes to Japan and, you know, ends up getting mixed up with the Yakuza. That's the Japanese mob. And his partner, played by Andy Garcia, is slain by the Yakuza. And he is then subsequently teamed up with a Japanese detective. One of the reasons why he got out of Dodge in New York was because he was under internal affairs investigation for taking money in a drug sting. And that kind of led to Andy Garcia getting killed, his character getting killed. And there's a scene in the film where the Japanese detective levels with the New York, with Michael Douglas's character. And he said, listen, man, did you take that money? And he said, yeah, I took the money. And he said, not only have you shamed police officers around the world, but not only have you dishonored your friend, but you dishonored yourself. At the Black Manosphere Conclave, we teach brothers not to dishonor themselves. There is no good reason, and I want to make this very clear. There is no good reason to photograph, videotape, or otherwise record your intimate bedroom activity to later be shown on social media or passed around to your buddies who may then take and show it on social media. That is not how a gentleman operates. The old rule still applies. Gentlemen never kiss and tell. Okay? Nobody has to know what your intimate business is like when you go overseas. That's nobody's business.
It's nobody's business, right?
It's nobody's business. What you do with the lady or ladies that have agreed and consented to spend time with you, that is between you. It goes no further. And that's something that we really hammer on at the conclave. We have a policy of no judgment. We're going to be going to Las Vegas. We're going to be going to Las Vegas next year, Sin City. Everybody knows what it is. All the tickets and info at the website, blackmanosphere.com/BMC. You can get your tickets now. Theo has just announced the new class. I mean, he's giving it away for peanuts. It's only $750. Head on over there and get it while you can. We don't take a attitude of judgment. We don't believe that a man having a healthy sex drive is a bad thing. We see that as a good thing. We see that as healthy. We don't finger wag at brothers and tell them you must be married or you must only have one woman. We don't make any judgments. What we do, however, every man decides for himself he wants to be married, whether he wants to have a lady friend, whether he wants to be poly, that's his choice. But what we do demand, A, gentlemen never kiss and tell. That's number one. Number two, consent. The ladies have to have the choice, the right to choose up front. You want to be married, she needs to know that up front. You want to have a lady friend, she needs to know that up front. You want to have more than one, she needs to know that up front. She has to be able to choose up front. There'll be no beating, there'll be no cheating, there'll be no stinginess. We don't get down with stingy brothers at the conclave. If you're one of these brothers that's talking about 50-50, the conclave is not the place for you. I can end this right here, because if you think you're going to go to Colombia or Brazil or for that matter Africa talking about 50-50, you got another thing coming, brother. I can tell you that right now. You might as well stay here in the United States and work it out with the sisters. You're better off doing that, because you think you're going to go to Cuba or you're going to go to Colombia or you're going to go to Panama or you're going to go to Brazil talking about some 50-50. You in for a rude awakening. I'll tell you that right now. So we have a code. And what I want people to understand about, I don't know Floyd. I'm just hearing about him on the internet like everybody else. He's never been to. See, my thinking is this. Times have changed. I notice I get on YouTube and people still want to talk about Mumia as if we're back in 2018 somewhere. It's almost 2026, man. Times have changed. My whole orientation is around the conclave. My brothers, we're not just up here talking heads, just chopping it up on YouTube. We actually know each other in real life, man. And we all in this thing together, man. And I want brothers to understand that in the conclave, we have a standard. We have an aesthetic standard. We have a uniform code standard. We have a code of conduct standard. We do not abide by cheaters and adulterers. You will be kicked out. We don't want brothers that are stingy. We don't want brothers that are cheaters, that is to say, welchers on their brothers. We don't deal with none of that stuff. That's the reason why all this stuff don't happen at the conclave, man. We don't have no fights, no scandals, no Me Too, none of this, sex trafficking junk. We don't have none of that at the conclave for 5 years running. These two brothers been to the past 2 conclaves. They'll tell you, because we have a standard. So what I want brothers listening out there to know is this. All of this stuff that you hear, these other YouTubers, that's not the Black Manosphere Conclave.
No.
Those are guys that's on some other stuff. The brothers at the Black Manosphere Conclave, we're the real deal. And I stand on that.
I'm going to show you guys something real quick. I call it the false dichotomies exposed. And, Dre, I want you to add credence to this, because you know more than, well, I mean, we both know, but I would say you know more because you live abroad. But I'm going to get into what Obsidian was talking about in a minute. Where is it at? I'm just about to find this file. And I talked about this on the show that I had recently. I seen the valid file. I talked about it on the show that I had recently. Let's see. Here we go. Let's see if I can bring it up. All right. So I call it false dichotomies, Dre, and Obsidian. And the false dichotomies is this. This broad over generalization is that black men that travel are ex-tourists. So I use the word ex for the sake of the algorithm and YouTube policy guidelines. They say that they are ex-tourists, and but that's a lie. And so, Dre, and I know, I've been to Brazil twice. I've been to DR twice. I just got back with my dad and my sisters from St. Kitts, Barbados. I traveled the islands of Puerto Rico. I saw like five, 6 countries, man. St. Martin, St. Lucia. But Americans often are exploited by foreigners. We understand that they're often exploited. They charge us more, and men are being deleted sometimes in certain countries. True. But what do you think about this false equivocation? Because an ex-tourist, Dre, is a person that goes explicitly, like some of these white women that were going to Gambia, these black women, like Obsidian was talking about, that was going to Jamaica, with the express intent to go into areas that are prohibited by law to seek X from poor and impoverished people. That's what white women have been doing for years. Some black women have done it. White men have done it. And I'm sure, I guess some black men have done it. But this false equivocation of black men being the only ones and complicit in this and that is dangerous. Now, the other dichotomy is that many men travel in X districts where it is legal. Some states, some districts are more or less legal. There's an understanding. I know from our research that some countries allow it under certain regulations. Some countries don't care. Some countries have pockets where you can do it. But my point is this false equivocation of American men with passports, black men with passports, being ex-tourists versus them being in districts where women are soliciting them, and also not only soliciting them, sometimes exploiting them. What would you say about the difference between those two things and these false dichotomies exposed? Because I've seen it, Dre, you've seen it, and the truth is this: there are more American men going into X districts where it's allowed versus them going into areas where they're explicitly trying to exploit women and children. The false equivocation.
That's true.
That Austin said.
That's true.
That Floyd said he wasn't a part of, but he was actually doing, because I was a little disappointed in Austin. I love Austin, but when you say that's horrible, man. So how would you respond to that, brother? Go ahead.
That's absolutely correct. You have guys that I've noticed statistically, just from my observation, that mainly if they're into that, they mainly go into those areas. For example, let's say Medellin, Colombia. Guys aren't going to the outskirts of Medellin or into the inner area of Medellin. A, language barrier for most guys. They're only going to be there for 3 or 4 days, 5 days, 10 days. So they go to areas where there's more of a red light district or a red light-ish district, a more party district, where more clubs, more American hip hop clubs are lure them there, more reggae clubs. So they make sure that it's not just saying there's a sign outside saying, hey, this is where you're going to get the ladies, but there are district pockets that kind of like are clones or franchises of each other, no matter where you go in the world. If you go to Phuket, if you go to Europe, parts of Europe, if you go to parts of Lima, Peru, or Brazil or Colombia, it's almost like a cookie cutter. Let's bring hip hop music. Check. Pretty girls. Check. Alcohol and drugs to this little neighborhood. Check. And now we've got the ladies of the night there and their pimps. Check. And it's all cookie cut all throughout the world. They all look alike. You don't have to have a sign out there saying this is the red light district. Guys know what it is. And I find that guys get an Airbnb around these areas more likely. I see guys that are more likely to get a hotel room. In many cases, dudes will buy an apartment and Airbnb out to other guys that are coming to be close enough to those districts. So you're absolutely correct. Most guys aren't venturing out, such as what the accusation with Floyd is, messing with some young ladies. They got into an Uber. Think about it. These young ladies were not near the red light district. Right. These 14-year-old ladies allegedly got into an Uber. They were just, innocently talking to an Uber driver. Well, what are you young ladies doing tonight? Well, we're going to go see this foreigner who doesn't speak Portuguese. And that's when the bells went off with the Uber driver. And so he looks up the information, he does some homework, he reaches out to the police, and that's how this whole investigation started, from 2 14-year-old girls that weren't from the red light district. Mm-hmm. So a lot of these guys who are on the perversion level, they don't care where they venture off to. But I can give grace to the guys that are just the weekend warriors, or I like what one guy said, and I'm going to be using this from now on. You have the difference between the passport bros and the assport bros. And you got the passport bros are guys that kind of like, they are trying to find new lives, new opportunities in other countries. But you got the assport bros, or the guys that are the weekend warriors, or the guys that are the red light district type guys. They kind of congregate in those areas. I don't blame them because that's what they're looking for. You go to DR, they're going to Sosua. They're not going to Santo Domingo. They're going to, now they're starting to venture to there a little bit, but for the most part, they're going to Sosua for those districts. And I found that many of the guys get off the plane and they won't go to any other area of a city. They're going directly to that district. They're getting an Airbnb near the beach in that district or around that district, whether it be Las Vegas. Nobody's getting a spot on the outskirts of the strip. Everybody's getting a spot as close as they can to the strip, if not on the Vegas strip. And that's the same behavior that takes place around the world. So you're absolutely correct in your analogy that most dudes that are deviants, they deviate from the red light districts because I don't know if that's easy prey to them or they just don't want to be around or they don't want to be seen or noticed by the red light guys. And so they try to blend within the locals and try to lure in local people. But most guys that travel that aren't on perversion are usually guys that just are out to have a good time. They're not bothering anybody. Like I say, you're a grown man with grown man money. And if it's legal or at least allowed in that particular country, in that particular city, I personally, even though I don't engage in it, even when I was single, I really wasn't one of those guys that was into that. But I don't judge the guys that know where to go to enjoy themselves with their grown man money. I don't pocket watch men.
Right. I totally agree.
That there is, you're 100% correct. There is a difference between the guys that just try to lure anybody from anywhere and then the guys that go directly to the districts, enjoy their weekend, enjoy their week, and then they just go back home.
And you know what? You know, it goes back to what I was saying, Obsidian and also Drake, is that they don't want black men in general to have power. They falsely associate black men with the worst behavior, but they never aggrandize black men when it comes down to giving them the needs that they want. So they don't really want you, but yet they realize some of these women like the Tanya TKOs and the others that really, if black men are gone, they really have no more options. They have no other options if the black man leaves. And they don't like the fact that black men are getting power. Some of these passport pirates, that's a term I created called passport pirates. They want you to be under their shadow, under their leadership, because a lot of times it makes them feel more powerful. Because I think, and I'm going to tell you something, Dre and Obsidian, I'm going to do a show soon called Tunes. I don't use the M word, I don't use the C word, because I believe as a therapist, that's a byproduct of transgenerational trauma. And I'm going to do my research when I do my exposition. It's a byproduct of transgenerational trauma. In the South, the word "igga" was used as a form of Southern colloquialism, and it was a way to minimize the lesser black man that was the field hand. So the field catcher, the slave catcher, was a buffer between the master and also the field hand. So he would say, "Yeah, master, look at that old worthless N-word," because he was suffering from a condition called Stockholm Syndrome. So transgenerational trauma is not only in the epithelial cells, it's not only in the cell, but also it can be through language and also can be transmitted through false dichotomies and false idioms. I believe succinctly consistent with theology that life and death is in the power of the tongue. And I cringe when I hear black men call other black men that M-word, because you can never tell me that you're a pro-black while talking white supremacy. You'll never convince me of that. You can say anything you want, but you're not truly pro-black if you're talking white supremacy, because you're still pushing those very nefarious narratives. I'm going to show you guys some. And Dr. Ryan Teraband did an excellent job, because Obsidian, tell me what you think about this. Modern women created the passport bros. I'm going to pull this thing up by Dr. Ryan Teraband. Obsidian, I want you to respond to it, because I do believe that succinctly that modern women created the passport bros, not only for the white ones, but also for the black ones too. I'm going to find this clip by Dr. Teraband. Here we go. I want you guys to look at this and tell me what y'all think.
Doctor explain in less than 2 minutes why gentlemen are dead and are not coming back. Good guys are gone, and so is romance. Who killed it?
So that's the answer to the question that began this series. Where are all the gentlemen? They disappeared when the lady went extinct. And it wasn't men who killed her. Women have proudly fought tooth and nail to escape the social restrictions that define that identity over the past 60 years. So what's the problem? Well, the problem is that modern women want the best of both worlds. They want the social freedom of the prostitute and the respectability of the lady. And that just doesn't make sense. Like, one person can't be both a lady and a prostitute at the same time. If these designations are to have any meaning whatsoever, they need to be grounded in objective phenomena. And while it's always kind of easy for a lady to become a prostitute, it's very, very difficult for a prostitute to become a lady. It is possible, like the Empress Wu, who started out as a concubine in Chinese history, but it is much more difficult than the opposite. So let's be real. The standard template for a woman's behavior in the sexual marketplace today is to engage in casual sex without commitment through their 20s and then settle down into marriage around 30. That is, they want to enjoy the social freedom of a prostitute for 10 to 15 years, and then they want the respectability of a lady for the rest of their lives. And unfortunately, that doesn't make sense to men.
What do you guys think about what Dr. Taraban said? I agree. I'll say it for the longest when I talked about taxation without representation, because you can't call yourself a lady, but then on the flip side, you tell men you want them to, you're not going to get them some cat unless they pay all your bills. I want y'all to look at this too and then tell me what you think. Hold tight.
Just like blown away right now. Most of the other
organization of men from different.
Yeah, my. That's.
Hold on. So there was a woman that said she only wants you for the, she said something about she only wants you for the money. It's no 50-50. She wants you to pay all
my
the bills.
life. Not
and so when I hear people talk about men traveling for box, you're paying box in America when you're going on these dates, because one is the anticipation of box. The other one is a direct transaction if you're going into X districts. What do you think about that, City?
I think that Dr. Taraban was 100% correct. The comedian Dave Chappelle said it best. Chivalry is dead and women killed it.
They killed it, right?
And they have the right to do that. I mean, I'm not advocating, to take women back to the 1950s or anything like that, like Scott Galloway tries to say of us in the manosphere. But I am saying, and Dr. Taraban pointed to this, ladies, you can't have it both ways. If this is how you want to roll, that's fine. Men are going to make adjustments accordingly. They're going to adjust to the new reality. Excuse me. That means now I'm not saying I agree with this personally, but I understand why brothers do it. That means they're going to be fewer brothers that even want to pay all your bills or pay all the bills. They're going to be fewer brothers that want to do that. There's a movement right now on TikTok. It happened earlier this year. I think it's still continuing, about the brothers being in their soft life era. The brothers that are, sprinkle brothers. You know what I mean? Inspired by the sprinkle lady. What's her name? She-Ra 75.
Sure, right.
So, I mean, there are a number of brothers who are of the view that these are modern ladies now and they need to kick in their half and so on and so forth. Again, I don't necessarily disagree with that personally, but look, I mean, I understand where they're coming from, because as Dr. Taraban rightly pointed out, many women in our time today, I'm not saying all of them, but many of them want it both ways. And brothers are rightly pushing back against that.
Right. Well, I'll say this, Sin. I love you to death, and I would respectfully disagree, and I do love you and respect your position. I don't think men should pay all the bills. I think only certain women qualify for men to get all bills paid for. I don't think the typical average woman deserves to get all bills paid for, because they're making their own money, and they don't have the virtues of your grandmother and your mother and women years ago. We keep holding men to these extraneous 1950 standards because men that paid all the bills got virgins, wife-ready women, and no children. And so y'all might disagree with me, but if I was a single man, I'm not paying all no bills. You're going to qualify for me to pay all bills, because that's taxation without representation. And I think we got to stop telling men that you got to pay all bills. You got to qualify to pay all bills. And most men can't pay all bills in this crazy economy. They just can't, And so, I don't advocate for men to pay all bills unless they get a good woman. Now, should they pay a percentage? You know, you can negotiate that based on your standard. I think men need to start raising their standards a lot higher, man, because women don't mind saying Obsidian. Look, I mean, you work extremely hard. You're a two-time good. You're a great author. You're one of the founding fathers of a movement. I think you deserve I know you got a good woman, but let's say if you were a single man, I would say you deserve the best of the best based on the kind of work that you put in. Because they're not going to give you a break. They're not going to give you a break. They don't give you a break. They don't give nobody a break. So why we keep giving them breaks? We keep giving them breaks, but they don't give us a break. But then we complain about the bad behavior that we see. So I don't believe that American men should be damn paying no bills. You're gonna earn this. If I'm gonna pay all your bills, you're gonna earn it. You're gonna meet my standards because that's how I was in the old school. And I know this ain't the old school, but if you keep telling men talking about pay it, no, we're not paying all no bills, sweetie. I make six figures as a therapist. You know, I made more money last year as a professional than I ever made. But but if I was a single man, again, me and my wife just celebrated our 30 years, and we had our ups and downs like all couples. But if I was a single man again, you will qualify because I'm not paying all your bills. And if you're an older woman, I'm definitely not going to pay all your bills. You're going to have to be young, tight, and dynamite, or a younger woman, and then we're going to negotiate. But I'm not paying all those bills. I'm just not going to because that to me makes no sense. You got to qualify for that. And I know, and I'm not, every man is different. And so, but I don't think black men should pay all no bills because, like I said, most can't pay all the bills in this crazy economy, and most don't qualify to get all their bills paid because women like this woman right here, Obsidian and Dre. Let me show you this woman. She proves my point. That's why I laugh at guys when guys say, "Oh, y'all going overseas to get box," but you gotta wait to pay for box here in America. You can get express box when you travel versus a delayed box when you're here in America. So a lot of guys say, "Why would I?" And listen, I grew up in the church, so I'm not advocating for fornication. But a lot of guys say, "Why would I get some delayed box when I can get some express box?" Because most women in America want black men to get delayed box. And a lot of times, the men that they want, they don't have to do anything. They don't have to do anything but show up. But the good guy that worked hard and, he did the right thing, he got to wait for her to give him some box. And she'll tell him, you don't deserve me. What do you guys think about these women that always say, I deserve? They don't never say, I desire, I want to earn. But they always say, I deserve. Let me show y'all what I mean real quick with this young lady here. And then y'all tell me what y'all think. Hold tight. Hold tight.
I want you for the money and the coat and for the bills. That's it. If you ain't getting my hair done, if you ain't getting my nails done, if you ain't doing nothing for me, then I don't need you here. It's not 50-50. It's not 80-20. It's 100% to 0.
Did modern women's narcissistic trait?
Now, that to me, Obsidian and Dre, is the P word. I'm not going to say it. But that's modern day P word. That's a culturated P word. So you hold men to this extraneous standard to say that you got to pay all the bills. Because this is what I believe. I believe if a woman's with a man, she should be following his program. You don't get to dictate the program. You're trying to come into my life and get my last name, and so therefore you got to follow my program. If I got to make sure I got my stuff together so that you can see me as a viable man as well. I'm not talking about no dusty dude, but I look at a man like Obsidian that's worked hard his whole life. He's done blue collar work. He's an autodidact learner. He's done it all. I will argue you deserve the best of the best of the best of the best if you can get it. And in foreign countries, many times, Dre, Obsidian would be highly venerated for his acumen and his hard work. Am I right or wrong? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Correct. 100% correct.
He would be highly venerated. Highly venerated.
I try to showcase by example of not just how I carry myself, but I try to show by example by how my spouse carries herself. See, it's one thing for me as a black man coming from the United States to showcase how I carry myself and what I am like as an example of a positive brother, such as my brother Obsidian and you. It's another thing to show guys you can get women that reflect the type of quality of man that you are in other countries as well. I want to show that as well, that you can find you an educated woman. You can find a woman that's gorgeous. You can find you a woman that's supportive. You can find you a woman that doesn't have a bunch of babies running around in other countries. and you can find somebody that jails and parallels. It's kind of funny. My wife's library is larger than my library.
Mm-hmm.
I spend more time sitting back, get done with the live stream. I go in there in the room, and she has her latest book on psychology, this or motivational that she's reading, and she'll give me a breakdown in regards to what her latest book is that she's reading. And so a lot of times I'm like, man, I've been meaning to get a copy of that. So she's got the Spanish copy, I've got the English copy, and we piggyback off of each other. So one of the things that I purposely did, I married somebody that's not, I'm not only the good example to the brothers, but I made sure that the person that I'm with is a good example. That was strategic and on purpose. Now, back to what you were saying in regards to these ladies and guys getting a better bang for, just paraphrasing, guys getting a better bang for their buck in other countries. It is true. I mean, let's just be honest. Even if you pay everything, do you get an ROI regarding that? Like, right. You were paying everything. You're the traditional man, but the woman was just as, if not more, traditional. She saved her virginity.
Right.
To ask her dad for permission to marry her.
Right. Keep preaching, brother. Good job. Yes, sir.
There was a dowry. You would have to give a goat or a couple of horses, including providing for her a home.
Right.
So it was at one point in time, the woman was so valued for what she could bring the man as legacy. She had innocence. She was ladylike. She was extremely feminine, and she knew to play her position.
She knew to play her position, right?
The domestic role, as well as when she left and she had to work outside the home. She knew when she got home, her husband was the leader of the household.
He was a leader of the household. Yes, sir.
Right, and she appreciated her life, and he appreciated her. Fast forward today, we're expected to be the exact same men of 1940. Appreciate women just like they did in 1940. Provide for women just like they did in 1940. Protect, be the problem solver, and be the prophet, the priest, and the penis of your household like they did in 1940. But still, we're expected not to get the same ROI, rate of return, that they got in 1940. I do agree with you in regards to, I do agree with Obsidian in the sense that, yes, a man should pay 1%, but I agree with you wholeheartedly. It is a betting system now who gets that 100%.
That's my point. I don't have a problem with 100%.
She is not getting 100% from me.
That's
one
right.
That is always fighting in Walmart is not getting 1% from me. The sister that dropped out of college twice and doesn't want to do anything else is not getting me to pay. I don't care how good her coochie is. She's not getting me to pay 100% of the bills. Because she does not hold forth. If you expect me to hold 1940s traditional requirements, then you should also have at least as close as possible as a woman the 1940 or 1950s traditional requirements. Here's the kicker. I'm going to end with this. And yet we can find this in other countries.
And listen, let me show you.
And yet we can find this in other countries. And that's the kicker. We can find a woman that loves to cook, loves to provide. When she gets off work, she's like, baby, I'm tired, but I'm going to make something for you, dude.
I'm going to make some. My dad was talking, man. My dad was talking about that. My dad talked about that. My dad talked. Listen, my dad said, I'm going to show y'all this clip real quick. But when you look at a man as stately as Obsidian, let's say if Obsidian says, I'm going to leave America. Where would you rank Obsidian, the broad man, being the stately gentleman that he is? Where would you rank him?
I would rank him just like myself in the top 5, 10%ers.
Top 5, 10%.
And that mean, and I'm not saying that flippantly either. I mean, on a global basis, a lot of times black men don't realize, especially of us that are of the intelligentsia, we rank among the top 10% of black men in the world. We kind of take ourselves for granted in the States because there's so many black men that are either from the hood or brothers that are this and that, and there are a lot of intellectual brothers. And then we sit back and we see other brothers that are more economically stable than we are at times, and we think that, man, I may not be that as important as it might seem. But then once you leave the United States and you start to see how you are valued as a gentleman, as a black man around the world, because there are so many regular everyday-ish brothers around the world, to see gentlemen, to see a man in an ascot, to see a man that has a book in his hand. Dude, I'm gonna tell y'all something. I purposely dress the way that I do sometimes, many times in Colombia, because they don't get a chance to see a black man like that in Cali like that often. I'm walking, Andrea is dressed to the T. We're just going to the grocery store. You swear we were going to a 5-star restaurant. And I purposely dress like that because Andrea dresses in her style, her fashion. She's gonna always look glamorous. But as for me, I'm dressing like this because I'm representing black men around the world. And I want at least some of these people to see that there are astute black men on this planet, and it's not just on television. And you might not think the Afro-Colombian is astute, and you might not think the Afro-Brazilian man is astute, and you might not think the African man from Uganda or the African man from Kenya or South Africa is astute, but I'd be damned if you don't think that the African-American man is not astute. And this is why you might see me in a sports jacket with two buttons open or just one button open, and you will see me with slacks, and I got on my black monk straps. I do that on purpose, not to be like, look at me, I'm fancy, but to let people see black men can walk around Colombia with the suit on just like or at least dressed or carry ourselves with respectful attire. I don't even have to wear a suit. Let's say I just had a polo shirt on, and how I wore it gives the image of this man is not like everybody else. My colognes, I don't see too many black Afro-Colombians known for their cologne collection. So every time they walk past this black man, he gonna be the best smelling in the mall, in the church, when we go to church. When I walk through, man, they know that he ain't from here. That's a different breed of black man. Obsidian is the same way. We need more men to represent the astute, the gentleman, the good guy. The good guy's not dead. He just got a passport.
Right.
I'll say that again. The doctor is correct. The good guy is not dead. He just got a passport.
He's got a passport.
You know how many good, astute brothers that I see down here. Here's the kicker, and I'm going to end with this. The best man that you will ever see that's a black man that travels, you will never see. Say that again. The best black man that you will ever see in another country is the black man you will never see in another country. I know men that are all brothers from the States that got 15 books and their authorship took care of them while they're here in Colombia. I know brothers that own 2-3 bars. You never see them on camera. I know a brother down here in Cali that owns 25 Airbnbs. You will never see him on camera. I know a brother, man, he came down here, did a consultation with us, came down here a couple of times, officially moved down here, found a good woman, really good woman. He's an IT guy. He's a tech guy. So he's already had his money, got married to this young lady. They had their child. His parents flew from California to see their first grandchild last year. You will never see these good men on camera, but yet we exist. I just so happen to be an anomaly because I happen to have a mic in front of me and a big mouth. But just to showcase the fact that guys like Obsidian and I exist, but the good men, they've left. That's why y'all don't see them that much in the States. And secondly, the good men that you will see are the men that you never see. You don't see them dudes. You don't hear about them in the thousands around the world. They're never on camera. You just got to meet them dudes walking down the street. You got to see that brother when he's at a conference somewhere in another country. Because if you ain't part of conferences, if you're not part, I'll give you a perfect example. Before I end with this, there's a brother that Taylor Made Dreams used to have on his show all the time. This dude lives in China, brother. He's one of the top ranking guys when it comes to entertainment, when it comes to promotions, when it comes to bringing in some of the best shows, when it comes to working with politicians, with real estate, and making connections in the business realm between two countries in China. This brother is at the top. I'm talking about the dude that's like this with the president over there. He's an everyday brother. Taylor Made Dreams interview with him. He said, man, you know what? He said, even though I'm a multi-millionaire over and over, he said, you know what I like to do when I go back to the States? Do interviews? Nope. Let people see how rich you are? Nope. He said, I just like going to shop at Walmart, grab me a couple of t-shirts, grab me a hamburger, and that's it. The astute brothers you ain't gonna see. The brothers that are really about their business, we're too busy living lives. We can't be on camera all the time and then live our lives all the time. You can't, guys see, in all actuality, guys see maybe about 15% of Andre and I life. We tell you about 15%. Like, for example, when we went to the island of Curacao, nobody knew.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody knew that we went to the island of Curacao. We didn't promote it. We didn't put it out there. Hey, wait a minute, it's dangerous out there. That's why Trump has
a lot of money in Curacao too.
Right. I never heard of Curacao.
Oh man, this island is right by Aruba. It's the ABC Islands. And you're absolutely correct. It's the Dutch island. And I'm telling you, if you ain't got no money, you ain't got no business being on that island. And I'm talking about on an island where you saw BMWs and Porsches, and I'm talking about what nobody broke on that island. Black people had money on the island. The white people coming from Holland and Sweden and Switzerland, they had money. The Latin people, DR, right now has the contract that brings in all the food into that country. And so now a friend of mine down here, he's buying or trying to get that contract to have Colombia be the provider for all the provisions on the island of Curacao. But you don't know about this every average day brother. Why? Because the brothers, the good brothers that you see are the brothers that you never see. You won't see these dudes. Like I said, we got, for example, I'm going to end with this. I've told guys this before. We got 3 more years of YouTube. April 9th will be our 7th year. We told guys, we've been telling guys, we're wrapping this up 10 years.
Wow.
You will not be seeing me. We'll not be accomplishing goals and probably living in another, me and Andre living in another country, we probably have 4 or 5 passports under our belt. Yes.
Right.
But I've learned on this journey, the good men that you're going to see, that you're going to meet in all these countries are the men that you never see. You don't see these men on camera. And that's why men like Obsidian are in demand. Because good men are always in demand. You know how they're having a shortage of childbirths around the world? There's also another shortage that we don't talk about. A shortage of studious, intellectual, good men.
And let me tell you something.
They are highly in demand around the world.
Highly in demand. And that's why I told Obsidian, I know he's in a relationship, but if he was in Africa, he would be a 5-star ball recruit. We had to recruit like a basketball player, like Dean Smith recruited Michael Jordan. He's a 5-star recruit. If I was a single man, I'm a 5-star recruit. I'm probably a 6-star because I'm 6'6" with shoes on. I'm highly educated, and I make over 6 figures. So my point is, men just don't know what their worth is, man. And I'm not going. I'll knock nobody else for lowering their standard. They do what you want to do. We got to keep the bar high. Shout out to Ray Johnson for that $10 cash out. Shout out to Tavares Gardner. Shout out to Nuruddin for the 10. Let me read these comments real quick. Nuruddin said, "Hey everyone, you guys are right. Why the Passport Plantation Bros are crashing out? Because of the rise of the Passport Bros' dad and Passport Bros Jr., I'm not putting up with disrespect. And you're right. You shouldn't have to put up with it. You shouldn't have to put up with it. Shout out also to NYC Black 11. You speaking about distinguished gentlemen. And also shout out to Turkish Tyrone. Thank you, Brother Coach, for bringing up these two sharp brothers tonight together for righteous cause, defending the image of black men for the constant slander. I truly respect you, gents' backbone and wisdom. Keep going. I'm going to show you guys something. I know you guys got to go. And this has been a powerful show, and I got to get ready to take my wife and daughter to see Avatar. I'm going to show you guys something, Obsidian. And y'all going to laugh at this. Now, man, my dad's country is country. My dad's country is cornbread. And he called a chicken a chicken. But listen to what my dad said, guys. And it's approved.
If you had a woman,
Hold tight.
So then you 82. If you got married again, which I know you said you ain't. So hold on, man, because some young men gonna be listening to you. Why when you get married again, Dad?
I won't get married no more.
Tell me why.
Look, I was been married for 55 years.
59.
59 years.
Almost 60.
I get married again, shoot. Ain't no way. I'll be worrying myself to death with another one. No way. Man, fool do that. Been married that long time. You gonna get married again?
But it's because marriage was stressful, or you feel like it's hard to find a decent woman?
No, it's more stressful.
More stressful if you try to find one now.
Yeah.
Right.
These women now, they do what they want to do.
What were the good things about being married versus the bad things? What was the good things you remember about being married?
Listen what this OG said. My dad.
Yeah.
This is what my dad
said. Some of the good things you hold man. I don't think this thing recorded. Yeah. So what were some of the good things about being married that you remember?
Yeah. We watch you try the house clean, she cook, and you do what you want to do.
Right. Do you ever hear stories of men talking about how their wives don't cook or clean, but still expect them to pay all bills?
See, I ain't never quite taught you.
New generation of women now said they don't cook, they don't clean. They said they still got a ring. Cardi B said that. She said she don't cook and she don't clean.
Who do that?
A rapper said that. She said she don't cook and she don't clean.
And look at her.
Right.
Got all these different children. Got these different men. Can't stay married.
Can't stay married because she got all that DNA in her. Now, if you think about women back then, would you say they were a lot more kinder? Would you say women back then were more nicer?
Yeah, they were more nice back then.
So how were they more nice in your opinion?
Because they cooked, they cleaned up.
And most men back then paid the bills, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Now, would you marry a woman, Daddy, that say she was married before, but she had kids by another man, but her husband passed, but she wants you to still pay all the bills?
No.
Why wouldn't you do it?
Because she ain't no good. She ain't no good. No, she ain't no good. She always been married and got children too. No way, you can stay on food, though. That's my daddy's
So what would be fair? What would be fair? Did you pay 50-50? Pay half of the bills?
I ain't paying nothing. I better not mess with it.
You just rather be by yourself.
Yeah.
There you go.
Right.
Well, you gonna do that you want to then, because they said they got you.
Oh, they got you then. Once you say I do, that mask comes off. They get fat, the sex stop, and they start talking back. They say, I got you now. You ain't going nowhere. You ain't going nowhere now. And that's why I tell a lot of young men now, I said, women back then were better they were superior than women. Now I'm not saying they were perfect. But they weren't perfect. But what do you remember about your mom's mom, my mama's mom, grandma? What do you remember about grandma? What kind of woman? Because I saw some pictures of her. She was pretty. What do you remember about Miss Bueller?
She was nice.
And she worked in the field, right?
She had no choice.
Now, you know what? I know what I meant to ask you, Dad. I know what I meant to ask you. Would you say a lot of women back in the day worked outside the home? Either they worked in the field or they worked for the white folks.
Listen to this.
And they still cook and they still clean the house.
Your name Mark. Remember back then, they cooked 3 times a day.
Say it one more time, Dad.
Cooked 3 times a day and work in the field from sun up to sundown.
Well, say it one more time, because I'll be the folks.
Cook 3 times a day and work in the field from sun up and sundown. Sundown.
Right. Now, did they?
Well, they buck all back.
Did they have microwaves back then?
Shit, no, they had no microwave. hey, the air come on the outside. That was their microwave. I mean, that was their, the air.
Right. So they didn't have microwaves.
No, they had no microwave. You know what microwave was?
They didn't have laundromat. They didn't have laundry machines.
No, they had a scrubbing board.
Had a scrub board. Right.
Yeah.
They had a scrub board.
Yeah.
They would scrub it, and then they would do what? Run it through one of those little hand wash machines, right?
Yeah, but back then didn't have that. You just had a scrub board, for scrub the clothes. You rain the clothes out and throw in the line. That's it.
Now, would you say that a lot of women complained back then, or would you say less women complained back then? Meaning they always complained, talking about they tired. Would you say those women worked from sun up to sundown?
No, didn't complain.
And so
didn't have no other choice.
They had no other choice, right? Those women were stronger. And most.
Barely women, but back then they were not.
So would you say a lot of the men worked back? What did the men do back then?
They worked.
What kind of jobs would you say most men back then worked for their families? What kind of jobs did they have?
Back then they worked in the field.
They worked in the field from what time to what time? From what time to what time do you remember?
When sun up and sun down.
Sun down, right. Yeah. They also worked in what's called the lumber yard, right?
Yeah, someone worked in the lumber yard.
So the reason why, guys, I got my dad. My dad's an OG. He's 82 years old. My dad's funny. But that's why I feel the way that I feel, because I don't know this dysfunction that a lot of folks know. I don't, I came from a two-parent intact black family. So when people say I'm paying all the bills, I'm not paying no damn all the bills for the one's been ran through. I'm just not going to. I don't want no man to want to do it. If that's their value standard, that's fine. I'm not going to do it because I know what my worth is. And so my whole position is that men need to raise the bar. They need to raise the standard. They need to start demanding more from women. They're not going to change until we change. When we start checking out and say you don't qualify, that's when they'll start changing. The problem is we're too concerned about what they think about us instead of saying, I got the power. If you want to be my woman, then you got to meet my standards. That's why I always say a distinguished man like you and Obsidian is an anomaly. And I'm not trying to boost his head up, but you don't find too many men that work, blue collar work. He's an author. He works behind all. He should be highly esteemed. And I'll stand on that. What do you think about what my dad said, Obsidian? Now you see why I'm so crazy, but go ahead.
Yeah, your dad is quite the outspoken man. And there's another gentleman. He reminds me of another gentleman. I don't know if you've seen him on Instagram. He goes by the name of Uncle Earl. Have you seen this?
Uncle Earl.
On Instagram.
Oh yeah, I know
Uncle Earl. Yeah. He's very similar to. It's funny. What's interesting? A lot of brothers. And here we're talking about, elders, baby boomers, greatest generation types. So they're salad and beyond. A lot of brothers have a lot to say about things, and it's just nobody ever asked them. Mm-hmm. So when you do have conversations with them, they got quite a bit to say about it.
They got a whole lot to say. 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 And once again, my dad will tell you, when he got in, my mama was a virgin. My mama ran through, she didn't have no kids. And so he paid all the bills. He worked like a mule to do it, but he did it.
You make a really good point about that, Coach. I'm glad you brought it up to just jog my memory. And I don't want this to sound too bad, so let me preface this. And if any ladies happen to hear this, I hope you're sitting down. The truth is that, is it right to pay for a piece of a person? I mean, you're basically getting a piece. I'm trying to be.
You're telling the truth. You're telling the truth.
I call it a fractal woman. You're getting a fraction of her.
You're getting a pie. You're getting a pie. You're getting a piece of the pie. You're not getting a whole pie.
You're getting an eighth or a fourth.
You're getting a fourth.
You know what I mean? Or 16. I just want guys to just kind of think about that. What are you paying for? Are you paying for the whole woman, or are you paying for like a half a woman or a quarter of a woman?
Man, you ain't getting a whole, man. You're getting a quarter. You're getting about a quarter 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not trying to be, rude or mean or anything, but or reduce people to numbers. But the simple truth is.
But they reduce you the numbers. They reduce you the numbers based on how much you make. So they reduce you the numbers.
Your height and your that size and all you know. So my thinking is you're 100% correct, Kosher. The day that you originally talked, I'm still tickled to death with that. Is that it's not right to expect a brother to pay full price for a woman in 2025 that's basically I hate to say it like this, a piece of woman, a fraction of a woman.
She's a fraction of a woman. And I know that's hard, but she's a fraction.
Yeah.
She's a fraction of a woman. Shout out to my man, the Tip Network. Shout out to that brother. I love his content.
Shout out
Good
to
brother.
him, man.
Tip said, I've spoken personally to 2/3 of this panel. These men here are true intellectual personifications of real black men. Shout out to my man, Tip Network. Much love and respect to that brother. He's a great guy. I love his content.
Oh, yeah.
He's a brilliant. Man, Tip is killing the game, man. I got nothing but love and respect for him, man. And I got nothing but love and respect for that brother. Nuruddin said, when I was a school dropout, I saw the rise of the bro dads and passport bro juniors after the death of Kevin Samuels. And those mothers taught their daughters to dance on his grave. Nuruddin also said that, do you know a week before Kevin Samuels passed away, he was on Instagram with a woman that wanted black men to take a bad deal. He looked at the camera and said, sell out or get your passport. What's your take on Kevin talking about getting passports up cities real quick?
Well, not only do I talk about it, the excellent time to plug the book. In the Gospel of St. Kevin's, we talked about this. One of the greatest lives he ever did was called Black Women Are Free to Compete. And in that live stream that he did, he talked about, look, the whole thing is going to be open up to the whole field, the global market. Globalization is a real thing. There has been a coochie cartel in Black America. The passport bros are marketplace disruptors. And it's high time that brothers, black women have been doing this for years. Swirling, dating out, the passport Stella thing, and nobody says anything about that. Well, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. By the way, you can get a copy of this book. I got copies right here, plenty of them. You can get signed, autographed copies, 100 signed, 75 still in the shrink wrap. All you got to do is hit me up at my Cash App, $Obsidian Radio, $Obsidian Radio. Who wants them?
No doubt. Guys, go check his book out. I know you guys got to go. Let me read these super chats real quick, and I'm going to get some closing remarks. I will go longer, but I got to get out of here. And so Nuruddin said, it's so bad that the passport bro dads and the passport bro juniors are seeing the women from the community pretending to be foreign women to get free hotels with no money. Dre, I see you shaking your head. I want you to elaborate on that. I see Dre shaking his head. Bashir said, my husband told our grandson some time ago to find a traditional woman. He's 17. Whether he needs a device or not is currently unknown. Dre, I saw you shake your head, man. Why were you shaking your head, brother? Go ahead.
When it comes to, bring back the one with Nuruddin. There we go. And they do that. They will come and hang out with the guys that are traveling. Especially, there's one incident, for example, of a sister from the States pretending that she had a Latin accent here in Colombia so she can sit with the brothers and get free drinks, create content off of the brothers, and then mock the brothers with her content. But the whole time she was just a regular sister from the States. But in order to get the free drinks, she had to pretend and fake like she was Afro-Colombian. And that's how far of an extent that they're willing to go to follow black men that are traveling to other countries.
Right. Yes, sir. Right.
They sit back and they've created in their own minds this narrative. Instead of using your flight to enjoy your own trip, because that's what those men were doing. They were just enjoying their own trip. But because there's such a negative image sometimes, I want to say this sometimes, of hanging out with the sisters outside the country, many times dudes, if we see a sister from the States, you kind of shun her away. Like flying, like a fly coming flying around your food. Y'all ain't going somewhere. Because when brothers overseas try to be cool with sisters overseas, you always got this attitude. And so brothers are like, wait a minute. Back home in the States, you can be like that. We outside of the States, we are not going to tolerate that behavior for 1 minute. So a lot of sisters know when they see a brother and a brother see them, we'll give eye contact, and they know the brothers, for the most part, are going to keep on pushing, because we're not going to be dealing with these attitudes after we spend so many days and years trying, hey, sister, what's up, sister? And you got the same attitudes that you got from back in the States. So a lot of dudes shun sisters, and these sisters realize it so much to where now they have to fake like they're the locals in order to get any attention from black men abroad.
Right. And you know what's so powerful, Obsidian Dre, is that if every black woman got married today, there would still be 2 million that are single. So for them to be so willfully ignorant, obtuse, and arrogant, it's baffling to me. Obsidian, what did Kevin say before he passed? Real quick, hold tight. Let me show you guys this.
Specifically made for black American men leaving the...
Tell me what Kevin said, Obsidian, before he passed about Passport Bros after this, and then Dre, I want you to get the closing comments.
The United States, finding love elsewhere. At this particular time, the 3 major countries that you would find these people would be Colombia, Dominican Republic, and Brazil. But there was a problem. The Passport Bros didn't have the same kind of heavyweight content creators that we had in the black manosphere. Now, don't get me wrong, the Passport Bros are a offshoot or a umbrella of the black manosphere, but they kind of just had a whole bunch of guys, on streams talking about their issues. And after the death of Kevin Samuels, Austin Holloman would become more popular, and so would the Passport Bros. They would sort of feel part of the void that Kevin Samuels left behind, although their ideas were diametrically opposed to each other. And while Austin Holloman was traveling the world, he would meet up with another guy by the name of Floyd Wallace. He's the guy that's arrested in Brazil for you know what.
Damn!
Austin Holloman would find himself in trouble for basically being accused of asking inappropriate questions to Brazilian women, which would cause him to leave town immediately. Austin Holloman would eventually leave the Passport Bros himself, and then would have ideological differences with the founder of the Passport Bros, Aaron Ferris. Fast forward. Sorry about that long history.
All right, so let me ask you a question, Obsidian. What was Kevin take before the Passport Bros, about the Passport Bros before he died? Because you know Kevin, you was his right-hand man. I would argue that Kevin Samuels was like, it's weird how it works, because right before Malcolm was, and I'm not equating Kevin to Malcolm X by no means, or Dr. King, but before Malcolm X died, he left the Nation of Islam. He was becoming more orthodox, and he was not as radical with his position against the white establishment. Dr. King, right before he died, he began to get more radical. And Kevin Samuels began to get more radical too. And he said, Kevin said, no, screw all this black love. Men, get your passport and do what's best for you. What's your take on that, man?
That's exactly what he said. I would say less than 5 months before he died. His lady at the time of his untimely passing, if I recall correctly, she's of Dominican background, I believe. Yes. Definitely a Latina. They were serious. And he was a big advocate for Passport Brothers. And I really do feel I wish I could have, and the door's still open. I wish I could, talk to Austin. For that matter, Anton too. I would invite both of them to Vegas next year. Let's all sit down and talk, man. I mean, what happened to black men talking to each other away from cameras? What happened to that? I mean, I'm not saying we have to all agree. We have to all agree all the time. But I would like to think that black men can work out our differences, whatever they may be, civilly behind closed doors. That's why we call it the Black Manosphere Conclave, because a conclave is a closed door meeting. It's not open to the general public. We found that black men, when they're in an environment like that, it's a completely different vibe. When black men, and we get into trouble for this, but we stand 10 toes down on it. The ladies are not permitted during conclave business. During business hours, the ladies are not permitted. I know that there are some ladies out there, some men that have an issue with that. I'm sorry, that's the way it is. We've done business this way. We've done it. We've had very good results. We found that when you do things like that, the whole energy of the whole environment changes. There's no puffery. There's no peacocking. There's no grandstanding. There's no, trying to, diving for dollars and clicks and views. It's black men all in the same room solving the world's problems. Things are a whole lot different. I don't know what happened to us as black men to where we can no longer handle our differences privately away from cameras and smartphones. Something has happened bad.
Yeah. Power and ego, in my opinion. Because Dre, I heard you say on one of your podcasts, you said that the same accusations. There was a white man that killed a Colombiana, and it was minimized.
Yes,
you didn't hear nobody talk about it. I was listening to your podcast the other night. I was listening to it last night while I was doing my show. Nobody talks about it. Every time black men do something, they put it under the microscope and they blow it up. Everybody else doing stuff, you don't hear nothing about it, man. You don't hear anything about it. Nobody say anything. It's not a big deal. Nuruddin said, Andre, you are right. My Passport Bro Daz and Passport Bro Junior saw her in multiple countries. They told me that it's not her first time doing that in Colombia. She's also been in Brazil. I don't know who was he talking about, Dre?
The one that fake walk that goes from country to country pretending that she is a local so she can get the attraction of the black brothers that's coming through the country, such as, for example, like individuals such as myself or you guys, we just on vacation. And she knows that if she approaches us as a sister from the States, we're going to shoo her away. We don't need your headache around us. It used to be a time when we were like, come on, sister, stay with us. But they always were embarrassments. So a lot of times brothers now are like, man, I don't want to try to deal with them sisters and the headache. And but so now these sisters are realizing I got to fake like I'm a local Brazilian, local Colombian, local Venezuelan, and pretend a fake accent in order to get attention from black men from the States.
Do you guys feel, Dre, and I've said before I let you guys go, that there are saboteurs that are trying to usurp what you guys are doing and also what you're trying to do obsidian with the conclave? Do you believe that there are saboteurs? And I know this sounds clandestine, but do you believe there are saboteurs behind the scenes that are watching you, watching Dre, even maybe watching me, that are trying to disrupt the movement and what you guys are trying to do?
Oh, yes. There have been attempts to have the conclave canceled, the one that we just did in Miami. There were attempts to try to have it canceled. It didn't work, but they tried. To be brutally frank, they didn't have the money. They didn't have, $250,000 large to try to dislodge us out of the Hyatt Regency. The one thing about white folks, they love green a whole lot more than they hate black. So we had the money to put up, and that was just to, get everything going. And then we had a lot more brothers coming through. We had like 500 brothers coming through that weekend. That's a serious shot in the arm for any major hotel. They're not giving up that kind of money for that. So, but we have had, sadly, some black women try to cancel it, try to swat us. I already put it out there. I said to the FBI director, Kash Patel, anytime he gets ready, he can join us out there in Vegas if he wants. We got nothing to hide. So, it is interesting. For so long, some black women have been clamoring for black men to get their act together. And when black men start finally doing that, now it's a problem. And that's very disturbing to me. Right.
Well, they don't want to compete. I think Kevin talked about Obsidian. American women don't want to compete, but sadly, our women, well, they're not even our women because they don't honor us, but American black women, they don't want to compete. They don't want to compete. They just think by default that you're supposed to, cause your mama black and your skin is black, you're supposed to, marry them and take care of them and make them special. And I don't really blame the women. I blame the men. But I think men are beginning to wake up. we're beginning to reclaim our valor because by 2030, because listen, I got 2 daughters that are good women. I got a 20-year-old in college up here at State. My baby girl, I want them to get good husbands. And actually, I'm going to go to the conclave. You know, I'm a Christian, so I want them to get good Christian men. And so there are some good young men at the conclave. And my daughters are V's. They ain't ran through. They 5-star. So, you know, you're going to pay. If you can't pay all the bills, you're going to pay at least 90%. You get with my daughters. Because I'm not giving you no mess. I'm giving you some kosher queens. My daughters are kosher. They vegan raised. They grass-fed chicks.
There you go.
They grass fed like the grass fed up there in Columbia, man. They grass fed. Shout out to my man BMO, my man, classy young man. I'm a BMO product with Charles Tyler. We know better. I know my man
Shout
BMO. He's a good brother. Shout out to that good brother. Him and I, we were in Colombia. I think we was in Brazil when we did the movie Frustrated 3. Shout out also to Nuruddin. He said the Colombian women, Brazilian women, they are there with these passport bros. The women are spotting these chameleons and pointing them out and saying they are not from here. But anyway, listen, before we end, and shout out also to Theo Wilder. Theo said we have black women trying to join the class also instant rejection. What you do? And you know what? I saw you talk with somebody here recently, man. I was reading a post you had, and you was, and, you know, I know Tish, you were saying the something about, you were telling Letitia something. You were debating with her over something. I forgot what it was, but you were trying to tell her something about stats or something. And y'all were having, I think it was cordial. Do you remember that debate you and her were having? You were trying to educate her on your reels, and you were talking about women. Because you and her have had a debate. She was at the conclave with us. But
yeah. She was there. She was there in Miami, kicking off the 5F conference. We do have something for the ladies. The best way to describe it is that there are Spelman. We're their Morehouse to their Spelman, if you will. It's on opposite ends of the building, if you will. We don't. The guys ain't got no business over there. The women ain't got no business over here. We do have certain areas where the two get together. It's very controlled under certain conditions to make sure everything go right. But we do have something for the ladies. It's going to be happening again in Vegas next year. As for your question, I can't recall the specific time her and I may have disagreed or debated statistics. But there is a reel over on Instagram. It got over 50,000 views. It went viral, where I was saying to her that there's a view in the black community that if you're a black man, a kind of test of your mettle is to love black women through whatever problems they may have. No. And that's and you know, the quiet as it's kept is that black men are the true struggle lovers, you know, if you really think about it. Because a lot of black women, not all, but a lot of black women, the idea is that you're supposed to support her through whatever issue she has.
No, I disagree with that.
Yeah.
I disagree with that. My passport bros and my passport bro juniors told me that they're Colombian and Brazilians and girls saw the videos. They loved the ladies dancing on Kevin Samuel's grave, and they were sick. What did I do to you upsetting before we end this, man? When you saw them dance on the talking about dancing on his grave.
I was deeply disturbed by that. You know, this is the hardest book I've ever written.
Yes, sir.
It was very difficult for me to write. I cried a lot. Right?
Wow.
And yeah, everybody who's read it kind of reports something similar. I've had people tell me they had to put it down at certain points. It was very hard for me, man. The May 5th, 2022, I'll never forget. It's my dad died 6 days after my 30th birthday, December 8th, 1998. My mother died October 13th, 2002. One of my best friends died on May 5th, 2022. And it took me about 2 years to finally get into the headspace to write this. I chalked it up to me just being so busy. The truth was I was in grief. And writing this book finally helped me come to terms with Kevin being gone. And so this is a labor of love here. I you know, people say, well, you got to send the money to, you know, I paid for this with my own money. It's not sold in stores. This edition of it is not sold in stores. I hope to have a paperback edition coming out. This is a special conclave edition. It is hard, leather bound. As you can see, it kind of, if it looks like a Bible, that's because it does, it's got the biblical look. It's kind of like my final send off to Kevin. I don't want to start crying, man. But yeah, it was really hard for me to do this.
Wow.
Tough.
Yes, sir. Yeah. I can tell that this is touching to you, man. I don't want you crying, but we're gonna end it here. Dre, closing comments, and then Obsidian. Dre, like you about to not sleep too. Dre.
Actually, I'm gonna be on Richie Mack's show tonight at 9 o'clock.
Oh, 9 o'clock. Okay.
I'm gonna join you over there, man. I'm gonna join you over there.
Oh yeah, then we on tour today. Then we on tour.
Yeah.
Nuruddin said the Colombian, Brazilian, Filipino, and Dominican women were so disgusted. At the women of the community for dancing on Kevin Samuels' grave that they got a passport, bro. That they hold on to him for dear life. What do y'all think about that? I didn't know. Did you know that, Dre? You from Colombia? You live in Colombia. Did you know that? Did you know? Was that I didn't know that, man.
Oh yeah, I did know that they were not happy about the behavior of American women, and all American women did was confirm not only what Kevin was saying, but confirming exactly what we've been saying. Why we left. One of the reasons, not the only reason why we left, but they understood now. They sit back and they see the footage now. They see the behavior now. See, it's one thing for us to create a narrative, but American women fail to see that women in other countries see sisters fighting in Walmart. Women in other countries see you on the plane next to them with bonnets on and pajamas. Women in other countries, they see you get off the plane and have attitudes, and now the brothers are saying, and now the people, the women in Thailand understand from dealing with the American women that have come to Thailand. Now we see why the brothers were saying what they were saying. Before they didn't understand until sisters start coming to Colombia. Now they understand because now they're seeing these sisters face to face, and they're like, man. Now I understand why black men left.
Right.
And that's the crazy part. They see it for themselves. And so it's not just something that's televised, it's something that's right in their face. And so now they're putting out content, the foreign women are putting out content saying, we get it. We understand. We see why y'all coming down here for us.
Yeah. I tell black men, Obsidian and Dre, that they have more power than they realize. Y'all, we got so much power, man, because the opposite of hate is indifference. And if men just choose to say, okay, fine, Dr. Helen Smith wrote a book called Men on Strike, and she got another book called His Is Him. I'm trying to do a show with her soon. But men have so much power than they realize. I want to ask you guys this question, and we're going to really end it this time. I know I said it a minute ago, but hold tight. Should we change the name of the Passport Bros? Should we change the name? Should they change the name, Dre, or should this men that stand on business and understand the Passport Bro ideology is a movement, it's an ideology, it's a movement, it's not necessarily a fraternity, and you can't put the Passport Bros in the box because Passport Bros bring different things to many people. Should they change the names? And then we won't go into
No, they should leave it as is. The genie is out of the bottle. The Pandora's box has been opened. There's no way to even change it and redirect it in any other way. It is a part of society now. The news headlines use it. Social media use it. Mainstream media use it. And so there is no need or even an opportunity to change the name. Even if they wanted to say, we want to change it to this, people will still use the term Passport Bro. It would take years to turn that train, to turn that submarine around. But what can change is the imagery that we present. We know one thing, a couple things that won't change in closing. How women perceive black men is not going to change. So let's get real with that.
That's true.
No matter what you do as a black man, you won't be able to prove, you won't be able to provide enough, and you won't be able to have enough proof of what type of a good man you are, no matter what. So let's get that narrative out of the way. And so therefore, since no matter what happens, if the passport bros were as clean cut as those young black men that wore suits every year as a fundraiser, clean brothers, little boys that were clean, adult men, clean, doing nothing wrong, but having a fundraiser in a photo shoot.
Mm-hmm.
And them sisters still tore down cleanness. Passport bros ain't even trying to pretend that we're walking around squeaky clean. So we already know as men that travel, no matter what we do, if the brothers who were squeaky clean got criticized and torn down, and they tore down the little boys and destroyed the little boys' confidence, how much more those sisters back in the States don't care? I don't know. I don't get what it is that black men are hoping for in the next 5 or 10 years. Do you really think the train gonna turn around? You think they're gonna stop being modern for you? You think they're gonna stop being boss babes for you?
You're right. They're not gonna change, man. They're not gonna change.
My ending is this: we don't have time. I always share this story, and I want to end with it.
Yes, sir. You're right.
And this is just a little metaphoric story. There were 3 little demons, and some of you guys have heard me tell this story. There's 3 little demons that were graduating hell, and Satan walked up to the first little demon and said, "What are you going to be doing when you get to earth?" He said, "I'm going to tell them that there is no God." And Satan said, "No, they know it's a God." Second little demon said, "Well, I'm going to tell them that you don't exist." And Satan said, "No, they know I exist." Satan said, he walked up to the third little demon and said, "What are you going to do to mislead the people when you get to earth?" He said, "I'm going to tell them they got all the time in the world."
Yes, sir. That is powerful, man.
I'm going to tell them they got all the time in the world.
All the time in the world.
Y'all really think that y'all going to turn these sisters around before your death, and before you die, you're going to get you a quality woman and a quality
right.
with laws. Here we go. Even if you find a good woman in a good community, the laws haven't changed in most states. So she still can wake up one day and take half your stuff.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You still can put your stuff with your good woman. And I showed you guys the stat the other day that most men don't know. Most divorces that take place in the United States, over 50% of divorces that take place in the United States happen to empty nesters over the age of 60 years old. I want to say
it's a great divorce.
It's not young people that divorce the most. It's old people.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So all them dudes that's bragging about, "I've been married 10 years, I've been married 15 years.
That's true. You're right.
40s and early 50s.
You're right.
You hit to your 60s and then prove something to me.
Yeah,
because
you're right.
50% of the divorces that take place in your country, my country, tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, 50% of those divorces happen after the age of 60. How old are you? 41? So y'all been married, 17 years? Don't brag to me. Don't brag to me about your little measly 17 years. The way that the laws are set up, she can go through menopause, have a day where she wants her freedom, and you lose half of what you got, and she gets, if she doesn't remarry, according to the laws of the IRS and Social Security Administration, she gets a piece of your Social Security for the rest of her life if she doesn't remarry because you were married over 10 years. So even if you get you a good one in the United States, it still doesn't mean that you're living in a good country that's going to continue to give you good opportunities. To whereas that's why you have a 54 to 57% divorce rate in the United States, and then you have outside the United States, you've got men like Colombia is a 9% divorce rate. Other countries 11% divorce rate. Other countries 15 to 20% divorce rate. But the United States, way over 50%, and 50% of those are people over the age of 60 years old. And so you try all that bragging that I hear about people talking about, yeah, we've been together for 24 years. How old are you? I'm 58, she's 57. Yeah, catch me in a couple years after them kids get out of the house. Because
right.
have the largest amount of divorces when the kids are gone than any other group in the United States. So I don't go for that how many years we've been together at all. Why? Because the laws still exist for that when she could leave you in 12 months, she could leave you in 20 years.
I totally agree.
Same laws exist. That's the problem. The ladies can change, but the laws haven't. The ladies can change, but the laws haven't.
You know, and that's a really good point too, because I was just talking about this on my Patreon. Brothers, y'all can follow me over my Patreon. All you gotta do is go over there, look for my name. I drop new stuff over there every day. I drop updates on what we're doing with the conclave. We're going to be in Vegas next year. Tickets on sale. Head on over to the website, blackmanosphere.com/BMC for tickets and info. Payment plans available. Theo's got a new class. We're going to be going over to Zoom to Thailand later on tonight. I'm pretty sure we're going to be talking about all that. But your point, Andre, is a really good one, because I had talked about this on my Patreon. Brothers brought this to my attention over on Clubhouse. I didn't even know about it. Earlier this year, like around February, the People's Republic of China, a communist state, okay? I'm a capitalist. They're a communist state. They announced sweeping reforms in their divorce law.
Yeah.
They will not, they abolished 50-50, as we would say in here in the United States. Give me half, Eddie. They abolished that.
Mm-hmm.
What they've done is, here's how it works. If you go into the marriage, let's say you have a 401k, 401k is worth 300 grand. Okay. You go into the marriage, 10 years later, you get a divorce. That's fine. If you came in with that 401k at 300,000, you're going to leave out of that marriage with your 401k at 300,000. This is for both the husband and the wife. Whatever you brought in, you leaving out with for both sides. Now, if you, regarding what we call here in the United States community property, the joint assets or whatever. Okay, so you go into business, the wife is, the secretary and keeping the books or whatever. If the Chinese government will look into the books of the business and determine her net worth within that business, whatever that is, that's what she'll get out of it. So if it's 20%, 30%, 50%, 70%, whatever that percentage that they need to look at the books and determine what her contribution was to that business over the life of that business, she will get that. That's it. Okay. All that, alimony and all that like we do over here in the United States, they're not doing that. And they have a mandatory cooling period. When you go to file, you have to wait at least 30 days before you finally pull the trigger by law. Now, we don't have anything like that here in the United States. That would pretty much crater the divorce lawyer industry here. But
Colombia is 2 years. You gotta wait 2 years. Wait 2 years. You file a separate. You go to the notary. File a form that says we are officially separated.
Yep.
She's going her way. I'm going my way. Is notarized.
Right.
You come back 2 years later. If you guys are still separated, now the divorce will become official. Whether if one of y'all show up or both of y'all show up. Right. But it's a 2 year waiting period. You're absolutely correct. There are countries that have waiting periods for the finalization of divorces.
Oh yeah, because they're trying to keep you from getting divorced. But here in the United States, they do have an interesting situation. You probably have heard of this, Andre, and you, Kosher, in the Commonwealth of Kentucky, where another conclave brother, Dr. B, matter of fact, he just came back from the Dominican Republic here for the Christmas holiday. He'll be going back. My guess is he'll be going back in the first of the new year. He loves the Dominican Republic. He basically spends half the year there, half the year here. He, in his state, Commonwealth of Kentucky, rather, they have abolished the way that they normally do business. You go to divorce and typically the wife gets the children. No. Now it's 50-50 default custody of the children. So by law, the child or children have to spend half the time with the dad. They have to.
Right. I heard about it. Yep.
And what is interesting about that the results have, and they, by the way, this is not new. They did this in 2018. But the Wall Street Journal, you can look this up. The Wall Street Journal did an analysis of this, and they had some interesting findings. They found that since the Commonwealth of Kentucky, keep saying Pennsylvania, they're a Commonwealth too. Commonwealth of Kentucky instituted this law in 2018. Divorces have dropped by 25%. 25% reduction in divorce. Now, there will be those, women's advocates and whatnot that are saying, well, they're concerned because the father could be abusive and the woman could be still there and abusive, so on and so forth. Fair enough. But nevertheless, the numbers don't lie. 25% reduction in divorce rate in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Several other states in the union have adopted this. Missouri, Arkansas, and there's a few other states, like 4 states in the union that have adopted laws very similar to what's going on in Kentucky. All of which is to say what my brother Andre, saying is real. We had the lead attorney in 23 in Atlanta, and he gave a hell of a presentation about, everybody knows his deal. He's, in Georgia, he's a force attorney, been doing it for 20 years. He's got all the scars to prove it. Andre is right. I mean, this is gonna sound bad. I'm not willing to risk. I just watched the video with Chris Rock on Instagram, and he's giving his stand up, but he's also talking about his divorce. My understanding is that, I don't know if he still lives there, but my understanding is that he lived in northern New Jersey. The way he described his courtroom experience of being humiliated, having to show pictures of his home to the judge to confirm that he had beds for the kids to sleep in, etc., etc. And I'm saying, and I said to the fellas in the chat room, now I want all you brothers to think about this for a minute. This is Chris Rock we talking about now. This is a brother that is a multimillionaire many times over. This is a brother who is not just famous in the United States, world famous. Okay, for a generation. One of the best comedian actors of his generation. I mean, he's on par with Eddie Murphy and Dave Chappelle. He's on that level. And this is how he got treated in the divorce court. Right. If it can happen to him, what can happen to you, rank and file black man?
No, right. I agree.
And Oprah Winfrey is talking about what Andre just said. They just did right, and you can look it up right here on YouTube. Before she had Scott Galloway on, she was talking about gray divorce. That's what they call it.
Gray divorce. I was about to say it's called a gray divorce, yes.
And that's booming. That's one of the quiet, typically we think about divorce, we're typically thinking about they tend to be younger people, young middle-aged people in their 40s, maybe early 50s. We're talking about people deep in their 60s and 70s going split. And the women are the ones that are driving it. That's just the truth.
Yep.
Oprah and them are talking about it. I got to tell you, I can't personally, that would devastate me, man, to go through something like that. I can't even imagine it. That would devastate me. I mean, could I bounce back from it? I don't even want to contemplate something.
It's hard when you get the age you are now, and with a great divorce, and you got to start all over, man. It took you years to get that. It's hard. Shout out to New Redeemer. We're gonna end this, guys, because I gotta go to this movie. Guys, go check out Obsidian's book. I put the link at the bottom. New Redeemer's Obsidian. I remember the first time I told you about the women from the community taught their school-age daughter to dance on Kevin Samuel's grave. I remember how disgusting you were. That's so true. Shout out to my dear friend Bathshua. As an American black woman, I was disgusted by how many females were gleeful at Kevin Samuel's passing. I mourn at his death as well. Winter is coming to the light. Shout out also to my man, DeFrank 1870. If anything, we could relabel as black divestors. That's interesting. Shout out to Lessons and Lives podcast. I miss Kevin's show. No one can replace The Godfather. I can't wait to read your book.
You can get the book by $100 signed, $75 unsigned to my Cash App, $ Obsidian Radio. Please email me theobsidianfiles@gmail.com when you do, so I can get your mailing address, who to sign the book out to, etc., etc., etc. I'll put it right in the mail first thing the next business day. It'll be right in the mail. 100 signed, 75 unsigned to my Cash App, $ Obsidian Radio. I still got plenty of copies. First come, first serve. No limit to the number of copies you can get. Make great gifts. I got guys getting this book. They want to pass it down to their sons, for their brothers, stuff like that. It's something that me and Kevin talked about right before he passed away. It's a heck of a. Everybody tells me it's a heck of a read.
No doubt. Nuruddin said, I remember on my birthday, I saw some lovely ladies at Applebee's with my friends. We tried to talk to them. They made fun of us, called us losers. So I went back to my table with my friends. Wow. Wow. And a lot of people think that when we do these shows, man, that we have some kind of disdain. No, this is just a response. Like I said, black men and white men didn't create the Passport Bros. Modern women create the Passport Bros. Nuruddin is killing it. Nuruddin is the #1 sponsor of the stream. I don't know how much he gave. He probably gave about $140. But I'm going to show you some love in a minute. He said, I went back to my table. Some Colombian, Brazilian women saw what happened. They came to my table and we started chatting. Those same ladies did not want to call. Those same ladies that did not want to call me called me a race traitor. They are delusional. Nuruddin said, Andre, you are right. During my divorce, I lost $110,000. It's not worth getting married in the States anymore. At any time, you can lose everything. Nuruddin again said, yes, I am upset, right, because in Florida, Governor DeSantis has abolished permanent alimony. No more permanent alimony. So that's powerful. Nuruddin killing it, man. He said, prime example of that. Obsidian, look at what happened with Judge Mathis, his wife, and she's already out the door with the divorce papers. Oh, I thought they reconciled. Did they get a divorce or they reconciled?
I don't know. Sure. I don't follow Judge Mathis that closely, so I'm not personally familiar with his situation. But what Andre is saying is real. Oprah talked about it. Gray divorce is very real. Just the look on Chris Rock's face, man. Wow. I can't.
Well, somebody said focus. I don't know. Let's focus on solutions for Floyd. Floyd never liked you, Andre. I don't know what that means. What would you say with that, Andre, before we end? Because I got to go. I got to take my daughter to see the break.
It wouldn't matter at this point in time when it comes to Floyd.
You're right.
I think it's safe to say that if what's being reported is true, if Floyd has much bigger concerns as to whether or not he likes or doesn't like brother Andre Spence.
Yeah, no, I agree. Floyd will be singing that song. If you call on Jesus, he'll answer prayer. He's gonna have to sing that song because I'm glad that Floyd's in a lot of trouble. Anyway, I'm sitting under 1 minute. Should they change the name under 1 minute?
Absolutely not. I mean, we've had people try to. Well, you should change the name of the Black Manosphere Conclave. Man, we're not changing nothing. It is what it is. The people who have the most to say about the Black Manosphere have never been, or any of its major figures have never been to a conclave. I always ask people all the time, the brothers or sisters, because now we have sisters on the 5F conference side. Fit, feminine, friendly, faithful, fun. The first question I ask them is, have they ever been to a conclave? If the answer is no, what are we talking about? We don't have anything to talk about. What is there to discuss? Because all the brothers, and now we're having sisters on the 5F side, they're not doing all this crazy stuff online. They're not engaged in all of that. So my first question to anybody is to ask them, have they ever been to a conclave? That's where the real manosphere is. Right. I'll go ahead and put it out there. You want the real Black manosphere? Come to a conclave.
No doubt, no doubt. I totally agree. Shout out to my man Neil Ryder, he's killing it. And guys, that's what this is about. Support Black Male Media, support Andres from Love Crossing Boys, support Obsidian, support male content, because it's hard when you're out here putting your neck on the line. And I'm a licensed professional. Like I said, I'm not from Chicken George State University. You know, I'm a real therapist, man. You know, and you know, I know some people might think I'm controversial. I don't think I'm controversial.
I wanted to send you a clip from. You know what? I'm not even gonna get it on the air. I'm gonna send it to you when I get off the air, because I want to get you and brother Jeff St. James. I want to get y'all brothers' take on this. I'm not even gonna get on to another. But if somebody sent me a tape of another therapist, brother, and I want to send you that tape.
Send it to Go ahead, Dre, real quick. I gotta go, guys. But go ahead.
Oh my God.
All right.
Go ahead, Dre, real quick. I have to go, brother. Go ahead.
No, I would get with Obsidian off camera anyway later on.
Okay,
but,
all right.
Thank you for having us on the show, man. Appreciate you, brother, man. Enjoy your wife.
Yeah. Hold tight. Now that I'm doing a lot better, I had to rebuild myself from scratch. What's happening now? My ex-wife is now $250,000 in debt with the dude she had at my hearing. Goes around, comes around.
That's a lot of debt.
that's a lot of debt. What do you guys get from the show in under 1 minute? Under 1 minute, Dre, you did a brilliant job. I told somebody, Obsidian, that if I wanted to, I would put Dre on the cruise ship. I would be in the back and just let Dre talk. He can talk for 5 hours straight.
You know, we was on the yacht together in Miami, and it was funny because I don't know if Andre did this, but somebody put together. It's almost like a meme. So on the boat, I mean, Andre was having conversations and whatnot. He's very sociable, very very likable, sociable brother in real life.
Right.
Not, at all. We talking, but the look on his face, he's very cordial, but just the look on his face, you could tell that he was not pleased with the feminine companionship, if you will. But he didn't say anything. It was just the look on his face. So then somebody took that photo. Somebody snapped a photo of him. I didn't even notice. They snapped a photo of him, and they put it juxtaposed a photo of him and his wife, and it's like night and day. It's like, this is what he's like in America, and this is what he's like in Colombia. I was like, wow.
I know.
Dre, you think I'm lying, man? I'm coming to Colombia. You say, yo, you've been on, but I'm coming. So I know you don't think I'm coming, but I'm gonna come down and we're gonna chop it up at some point. But guys, this has been a powerful show. This was a great show. Sir Lavo 5, he said, we'll catch a replay. I said all organizations have weirdos, the mobs, the gangs, the churches, etc. One person can't stop, and they can't. And I tell men to hold the line. Don't run and hide, because folk talking about they gonna get y'all. The passport bros passport bros is like a ghost, man. It means different things. Just like their manosphereans are different. Every manospherean is not under. It is a fraternity, but many men are manospherean adjacent. They're not card-carrying members of the manosphere. They all got different worldviews and different beliefs. And the manosphere is changing the world, and that's why people don't like it. I've said it before, and I say it again. Men have more power than they realize, and I agree with Dre 1,000,000%. If you're going to get married, it's very risky to do it here in America, and I don't advocate for it, because you're right. With the great divorce, man, you just never know. But anyway, guys, you guys have been phenomenal. Guys, y'all showed up big and strong on it. It's been one of the better streams I had in a long time. And Dre, man, I got to come to your channel, man. We can do a show together, bro.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm going to let you plan something.
We got to do this again.
We got to do it again. Dre, plan a show, man. You give a topic. You and I invite me over to your house.
Speaking of which, I owe you a visit over at your place too, Andre. So I owe you another
Deal.
Very good.
All right, guys, we're going to end it here, Dre.
In a few hours, Andre.
All right, okay. And Obsidian, thank you, sir. I appreciate your time, man. Yes, sir. Y'all be good.
Buy the book.
All right. All right, brother. All right.
Peace.
Y'all be good.
Mr. Passport, bro.
Exactly. Coming soon to the interview, man. We're going to talk to this man. He said he's no longer a passport bro. That's what he just told me.
The definition that people are saying about passport bros, I'm not with all that. I'm for men finding relationships outside of the country and to find something better. That's what I'm...
Austin Holloman would make a video called Passport Bros in Brazil with 6-year-olds.
Damn.
Instead of saying travel YouTuber or passport bro our Black American guy, he said passport bros. So basically, passport bros, more than one guy, was messing with 6-year-olds when it was only one guy that got arrested. And he gives some explanation.
And then here's even worse: sexual exploitation. According to the investigation, the man is part of the movement called the Passport Bros, formed by criminals who use economic power to exploit social vulnerabilities of Latin America and Southeast Asia. In his social media post, he declared himself a sex tourist.
Just like blown away right now that these chicks are so ugly to mid, guys. I'm like, I was in the club like, why are they not attractive enough? Like it. Most of these chicks, guys, you're not gonna want to pay the fuck. I ain't gonna lie to you. Most of these chicks, you feel like you should be for free. I ain't gonna lie. You want to use your real. Like blown away that so much of a city could have so many average to ugly looking women, yo. It's just like.
Now let me say this. All right. This is an individual action.
In 2015, I was on my way to Poland from Sacramento, California, and I came across a YouTube channel called The Charles Tyler Show. Now, The Charles Tyler Show, aka The Black Man's Option, he was a brother from Philadelphia living in Rio de Janeiro, and he was telling black men to get their passports and come to Brazil. He was the framework for the Passport Bros, and within his community, I would meet other people, such as Taylor Made Dreams, but more importantly, Aaron Ferris.
Yeah, she lie on them brothers. 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 So what going on in your man, you don't get it. And using
Mr. Passport, bro.
Exactly. Coming soon to the interview, man. We're gonna talk to this man.
Hit that like button. Go ahead. Do it now before I reach out into that screen and twist your hand like Aunt Esther. Hit the like button. Thank you. Destroy. The Kosher Clinician. Fire for your mind. The Kosher Clinician.
If it ain't 7, it ain't kosher. Heaven and hell, that's what they told you. Real men put the strap down and we can toss them. Young heads picking back up and young dope them. This is our culture. Now we talking kosher. Clinician, masculinity issues. Absent fathers who miss you. Mama drama don't kiss you. All a part of the ritual. This is how they get you. Separate the men, women, clipping babies pretend to. Damn. Lovers, haters, acting like vultures. If it ain't 7, it ain't kosher. If it ain't kosher, ain't right, gotta divorce us. If it ain't 7, it ain't kosher. If it ain't kosher, ain't right, gotta divorce us. If it ain't 7, it ain't kosher. If it ain't kosher, ain't right, gotta divorce us. This is kosher condition. 7 wonders, the whole world gotta listen. This is kosher condition. 7 wonders, the whole world gotta listen. This is kosher condition. 7 wonders, the whole world gotta listen. This is kosher condition. 7 wonders, the whole world gotta listen. Listen. Listen.